Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Jim Masters Show live worldwide. I am your host, Jim Masters. It is a pleasure to have you with us today. We welcome you from all around the world. I hope you're having a terrific day. We thank you very much for making us a part of your day. We are here to celebrate light, levity, and love, or as we dubbed last night, we said a new word. We created a new word. Somehow we created levity and love, and we combined it into lovity. So that's a new word that you can add to the dictionary. That's going to be added to the English language, I think, dubbed last night on our live show when I had my dear friend, Irish fiddle violinist Tiffany Moore with me on the show. If you missed that show, it's an extraordinary conversation, live performance, laughs and memories and more. You can find that on the archives. You can find all the shows for Jim Masters TV. When you go to YouTube, the Jim Masters Show Live is on Jim Masters TV on YouTube. We also simulcast it on Facebook as well at Jim Masters TV. This is a show where you find entertainment, lifestyle segments, and it's a talk show series as well. And again, this is some of the work I do for a living. As you know, or if you're just joining us, I'm a professional television and radio host, actor, journalist, voiceover artist, speaker, motivational speaker, writer, producer, stage MC, and narrator, and so much more. And about 7 weeks ago, if not exactly 7 weeks ago, we put this all together, built the home studio, and we have created the Jim Masters Show Live series for you here. It's been extraordinary. We've had some really, really phenomenal guests on the show. We have taken you on location. We do food segments, music, life inspiration, levity, and so much more. And it's so wonderful to have all of you here from all around the world. It's so many people are discovering the show. You're telling each other about it. You're having watch parties, sharing the links. You're sharing the YouTube channel link, the Facebook links, all of it. And I have to tell you from the bottom of my heart, I am so gratified, and I really appreciate the fact that you are doing that. That's very special that you're doing that. And I think that's very cool. So to all of you who are telling everybody about this cool show that you're discovering here, whether you know me personally and you're watching, or you are discovering it for the first time and discovering me maybe for the first time, because we have folks watching in Australia and Europe and Asia, New Zealand, United States, Canada. We originate from the United States in the northeastern United States, in the greater New York City area between New York and Boston. That's where this show is originating, but it's beaming out and simulcasting worldwide to all of you. So many comments, extraordinary messages. I've been getting private messages, Facebook messages, emails, comments on the YouTube channel, comments also on the Facebook pages. It's really amazing to see the love and the support. And I tell you, you guys just really warm my heart with all of that, because you know, it's a lot of work behind the scenes to put it all together. I mean, I'm usually up till like 3 a.m, deciding what we're going to be doing and really building the whole show together. And of course, you know, we're creating the formats and getting all the guests in line. We have guests that are with us. This is extraordinary. All the way till booked, all the way into August. Is that not amazing? Guests for a show that just started 7 weeks ago, already booked all the way until August. It's extraordinary, and we're so excited. And we have a wonderful guest that is joining me. He's a dear friend. I've known him for many years. I've actually shared the stages with him as well in New York City and in New Jersey and elsewhere. We broke bread at a phenomenal Italian restaurant located in Connecticut, Cafe Allegra, with the late chef Silvio Supa. He is a hat collector like me. Lots of hats. We've always talked about the hats that we get when we travel all over. And he's an extraordinary award-winning musician, arranger, composer, guitarist, and a really good-hearted guy, a great soul and a great spirit. He's extraordinarily talented. He has written music for television, for film, for stage performances, and so much more. And he is very adept at several different types of string instruments and guitars. And he has several in his home studio right now, all lined up for us, because he is going to be playing live exclusively for us here tonight on the Jim Masters Show Live. We've got some video clips, we've got photos, we've got a whole host of great conversation and great levity and light coming up in just a minute. But I'm really excited to have him here. When I first mentioned that I would love to have him as my guest, he, like everybody thus far, has said, you know what, Jim, you just tell me where and when, and I will be there. So I really appreciate him doing that, and all the guests, and you doing it as well. Let's kick off the show the way we normally do it. We kick it off first by having our toast. Now, the guests and I usually do our toast as well, but I always toast you first. This is your host, Jim Masters, sending you love, light, and levity, or in this case, lovity, dubbed our new word. We're going to have to get t-shirts and mugs that say that. And we've got a little wine here, so we're going to celebrate you and you and you and you and you and you from all around the United States, Canada, Mexico, Australia, New Zealand, Asia, Europe, all points of the globe. I don't think we have anybody from the Arctic Circle or Antarctica yet, or Iceland or Greenland. Tell your friends in Iceland, Greenland, Antarctica, and the Arctic Circle to tune in. We're here 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific every single night. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Did I sign up for that? Yeah, I did. And we're having a blast with you. So a little sip. Chin chin. Salute. Slancha. Cheers. So we have our cast of characters here. Again, this is a show that's entertainment, lifestyle, talk show series. We do have serious topics we talk about and tackle as well. Some in-depth conversations, inspirational conversations with some of our guests as well. But we try to put smiles on your face. The mission is really to put smiles on your face and to brighten your day every day as much as we can with our resources here, and to lighten the load a little bit, inform you, entertain you, educate you on things, and bring you into the mix. You are part of the mix here, and I love that. And you don't always get that all the time, you know, on the air or in broadcast or on the internet, where you get that real interaction. But I've always been like that in all of my work on television and radio and stage and elsewhere. I really love the interaction with the public, with the viewers, with the listeners. So good to have you with us today. And your friends are here. Again, so many of you ask for your friends, so they're here. There's George Burns. He comes to say hello. Hello there. How are you? You know, I used to have a ventriloquist doll, a Charlie McCarthy doll, when I was a kid. When we were coming back from visiting relatives in Connecticut, Massachusetts, we were in the backseat of my parents' car. My sister and I were playing with Charlie McCarthy, a ventriloquist doll, which I loved so much when I was a kid. And unfortunately, the string broke that pulls the mouth open and closed, and it busted. So how do you have a ventriloquist doll where the mouth can't work? That was a tough trip back home. But here is the official 100th birthday anniversary. Fantastic comedian George Burns, official doll there, and he says hello to you. And of course, you know how it works here on the show. Jeannie's here. I need longer arms to reach her all the way over there. We don't want to break this bottle. This is the real, authentic, hand-painted collector's bottle that came out about 10 years ago. In celebration, you see Jeannie in there as well. This thing is very, very heavy, so we don't want to drop it. How you doing in there, Jeannie? You doing okay? Yes, Master. She sends her love. She's still shy. I don't know why. You know, she's trying to get her powers back. She's been quarantined in there since March, you know, with everything that's been going on. So as soon as she gets her powers back, maybe we'll be able to get her on the show. Your other friend here. Yeah, don't you love him? He's our official mascot, sending you some lovity from Switzerland when I was on a television shoot in Europe. There's your friend. Isn't he nice? Just look at him for hours. Silver, perfectly named too, right? Silver. Don't you just want to pet Silver? He sees all of you as well. Hey, if you got kids and grandkids, they would love this, huh? Come on. We're all kids. We are all big kids in adult clothes. And somebody that agrees is your friend Jimmy. He's here too. Jimmy says hello. This actually was a childhood toy. My parents got me this when I was a kid. And look at it. It's still looking good. Old porcelain. Love it. So your gang is here. And as you always know, or if you're just joining us for the first time, we welcome you. Some lights, camera, and action. All right. Light is the 3 L's. Light, levity, and love. But we've added a fourth one with lovity. And here's some lights, camera, and action. Good to have you with us. How is your day going, everybody? Just want to check in with all of you, and I wish you well. I hope you're doing well. Again, every day is different. We've been going through some extraordinary things together, and it's whether it's the health or the economy or societal unrest and things that are happening, swift change happening in our world. I just hope that in your family and your friends and in your life, things are hanging in there and things are okay. We're here every night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, live worldwide on the Jim Masters Show to brighten your day, to put a smile on your face, have fun, inform, entertain, and educate. And again, I truly thank each and every one of you who have been so beautiful and so kind and soulful about how much you're really enjoying these shows. I hear it from the guests after we do the interviews, but even the days we don't have interviews and it's just us having fun on location or cooking or whatever we're doing, listening to music, doing trivia, comedy. So many of you have just been giving such extraordinary feedback that really just motivates me more to continue to grow this show. Some really cool things that are happening behind the scenes with this show. I hope to be able to tell you that real soon, tying into some of my professional work. So that is cool and that is very exciting. And you guys are here for the ride. So I really appreciate that. So why don't we kick it off by saying hello to some of our viewers, because everybody has a little network here. Hello, you, hello, you, hello, you. So I say hello to you. We've already introduced our cast of characters. Now let's interview the rest of the cast of characters from around the world. And Reginald is here. Reginald Von Creef, good evening to you. And it's nice to have you on YouTube. And I'll pass the word to John. But thanks for joining us. We appreciate it, Reginald. And it's great that you're watching us on YouTube, which is where the show's archived and comes from. It's wonderful. And Willie. Hello, Jim. Glad to see you as well, Willie, who's in Holland. And again, if you're just joining us, we've got a running joke with Willie. Willie is in the Netherlands, in Europe, in Holland. It's about 1:13 a.m., and she tries all she can to stay up late just for this show. Now, that is faith. That is loyalty, and we really appreciate that. She tries to go to bed earlier in the day. She tries to get a nap in there if she can. She's been doing that in between raindrops because it's been raining and thundering, she says, in Holland. Thank you for those wonderful pictures you sent, Willie. Over the weekend, I think I'm going to show some of those pictures. Again, if you guys want to send pictures to the show that we can show during our weekend shows, you can send them to jimmasterstv@gmail.com. That's jimmasterstv@gmail.com. You can send photos of your gardens, of your kids, of your hobbies, whatever it is, of the rain clouds, whatever it is. And we'll try to squeeze them in over the weekend shows. We have a lot of viewer interaction and a lot of fun on the weekends as well. So I just wanted to, since Willie goes through heroic efforts to watch this show at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning there in Holland, here's a little something for you to make you feel at home, Willie. When I was on a television shoot, we were on 2 different shoots in Europe. I was in Greece, we were in Germany, I've been to Italy, we've been to the Netherlands as well. And when we were in the Netherlands last, we picked up these beautiful tulips. Now, they're not real tulips, of course, but they are hand-painted and they're wood. They're actually wood, which is absolutely amazing that they're wood, all hand-painted. See if you can really take a look in there. We actually picked up a huge monster bouquet of this and gave it to my mother for the holidays, and she loved it because she loves Holland. She loves the Dutch wooden shoes. She loves the tulips, my mother. So this is an honor to you, a bouquet for you there in Holland, Willie. And we just wanted to make you feel at home too, Willie, since you're there in the Netherlands. We showed this the other night. It's in the archives. When we took our audience to the Netherlands, I showed some on-location footage. There you go, Willie. Does that make you feel at home? We got this while in Holland as well, and you can see the Dutch flag there. And of course, there's those flowers, because there's so many cycles all over Amsterdam and all over the Netherlands. So, Willie, there you go. This is a tribute to you, Willie, for staying up so late into the night, into the morning, just for the opportunity to watch our show here on the Jim Masters Show. We have more great guests, and thanks, Willie, for your loyalty. Ernestine in beautiful North Carolina says hello. We welcome you as well. Thank you very much for joining us, Ernestine. And Christopher Joseph in Ohio. Hello, Jimbo. Jaya, love that as well. Jaya, happy Wednesday, everyone. Renee in beautiful Iowa, as I tell her, the bread basket of our wonderful country of the United States. Hello, everyone listening. That is terrific. Masters Mantra Wednesday. And today's word is lovity. Hi, Jim and everyone. So happy to finally have a free evening to join you live. Looking forward to this great interview and show. Good to have you with us, Karen in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, USA. Crystal Nolan. Hi, Jim Masters. Looking forward to a fantastic show. Thank you very much for joining us. Good to have you with us there in Connecticut and New England. Martha Oliver Swartz. Hello, Jimmy. Jimmy Coco Pop. Good to have you with us as well. Martha, hope you're doing well. Kathleen Walker in New York City says, hi, Jim. Hi, everyone. Good to see you as well. And hi, everyone. Happy Hump Day and Jump Day with lots of levity. Celebrating good times. Come on. That's right. Absolutely. Enjoy, Lorenzo. We are doing very well today. How about you? You doing well? We were very busy working on the show and working on our shows for tomorrow and for Friday. It was a stunning day here. Absolutely beautiful. And we got a chance to go outside in between, walk along the coast, some cycling, and a little bit of tennis earlier in the morning. And then we had to work hard to get the show ready. And then I had a couple of radio shows I had to host as well. Nice to see you in New York City. And hello to my buddy, your grandson, Connor, and to your entire family there in New York. Susie says, hi, Jim. I was a couple of days looking forward to the show. You were away a couple of days. We missed you, Susie, but we kept that porch light on for you, and it's great to have you here. And Willie says, Roos. Well, I'm so happy with you watching on YouTube right now at Jim Masters TV that you are enjoying the bouquet of flowers and the little cycle there from your home country of the Netherlands and, of course, beautiful Holland. And Margie Inman, I love your sense of humor. Thank you very much. She is in Vancouver, Washington, with that beautiful waterfront. And in Iowa, Renee says it's a good day here. That's fantastic. Well, it's a really good day, whether it's raining, snowing, windy, or whatever it is, when you guys are with us as well. Karen Levitt in New Hampshire says hello. Nice to have you with us, Karen. We appreciate it. Hope you guys are doing well. Dear friend Angel Rosa, producer extraordinaire. Howdy, Jim. Watching you. Looking forward to a great show. Angel, tell all your friends. Spread the word. This is our 7th week with the Jim Masters Show Live, entertainment, lifestyle, talk show series. Great guests, all kinds of fun segments on location and more. And great to have you here. 7 p.m. Eastern every night, 4 p.m. Pacific. YouTube at Jim Masters TV, Facebook at Jim Masters TV. And Angel and I worked on an actual movie. He brought me into a movie, and I played the part of a news anchor. And that's still in production, and we will keep you posted on that movie. It's got a really good premise, a really good theme, a really good message. And I was honored to be a part of this movie, acting in the movie. I actually didn't share that with you guys yet. There's a couple of things that I've done recently, and one of them was to have an opportunity to be part of the cast of this phenomenal movie that's in production. We will give you the details as we get closer, but it was a pleasure acting in that movie. I was actually playing the part of Jim Masters, on-air broadcaster, and that was pretty cool. It came naturally. So good to see you, Angel, and hope your family's doing well, my friend. He is in Connecticut, in the beautiful Danbury area. And Willie says, thank you so much. Willie in Holland, great to have you here. And Margie says, I have health issues, but listening to you, Jim, I am no longer aware of any issues. Thank you. Jim, I stand by you, Mr. Sunshine. That is a beautiful thing to say. So you're dealing with health issues, but when you watch the show, you forget about the health issues, the pain and the trauma and whatever might be going on. That's a very touching thing to say, and I really, really am moved by that. Thank you very much. I'm happy to know that whatever we do here on this show puts a smile on your face, Margie, lightens the load, and maybe for at least the time that we're all together here on the show, it takes some of that pain away for you. That's a beautiful thing, and knowing that it does that just drives me even more to do what I'm doing here on these broadcasts. So thank you very much, and I hope you're doing well. Another phenomenal person, Joseph. Good to have you with us, Joseph. Hope you're doing well. Hi, Jim. Happy Wednesday. He's watching on YouTube at Jim Masters TV right now. Lots of folks tuned in. Jacqueline Ficara Caputo. Hi, Jim. Good to see you as well. And Jory Lorenzo. Thank you, Jim. Glad I got to come see you. I am so happy that you're here as well, enjoying your show so much. Thank you very much. Continue to tell all your friends, share it on Facebook and everywhere else. They're all welcome here on our show as this show continues to build and grow and fine tune. And we're always working on it, adding new elements. Using a lot of my television experience on this show. And I guess it's working in certain ways. And I'm happy to hear that you're responding accordingly. Martha Oliver Swartz says, Jim Masters TV is the best show to watch. Thank you very much. Maybe I'll just leave that one on the rest of the night. Love that one. Lovity to you as well. We got to get some shirts and mugs that say Lovity. The Jim Masters show where you find nothing but Lovity. Hola, good to have you with us as well, Adriana. Adriana, where are you watching from? What state or city or country you're watching on YouTube right now on the Jim Masters show? Thank you very much. I appreciate that. It's good to see you, and welcome to the show for the first time, Adriana. Love it. And Marianne Kelly. Hello, Jim Masters TV. Hello, Marianne Kelly. How are you in New Jersey? Hope you're having a beautiful day in New Jersey. And Christopher Joseph says, Jim Masters, live, love, light, and levity, or as we just dubbed it recently, Lovity. So many people, so many great comments. Good evening, everybody, or good day, wherever you are. I know in Australia, for Eileen Barker and her friends, she's having breakfast. It's early in the morning in Isigari, Barcelona, Spain. It's late night for her too. She's continuing to be our viewer of the week. We do viewer of the week every week. And we're going to be doing it again on Sunday. And currently the viewer of the week here on the Jim Masters Show Live is Isigari in Barcelona, Spain. So all week long, we've been celebrating Isi in Barcelona, and we celebrate you as well. So we have some music, conversation, levity with the guy. I tell you, everything is reversed. There he is. Yeah, there he is. My dear friend, John La Barbera. He's a wonderful musician, composer, arranger. He's a brilliant guitarist. He can play just about anything. You just give him the equipment and boom, he is amazing. He's so excited to be here. We've been talking, we actually had a sound check before we went live on the air. We did an actual sound check that you normally would do when you're going to a concert hall or a venue, or in the television studios when a musician comes in. So here we actually did a remote sound check to make sure everything sounded right and looked good for you guys. John wanted to make sure that everything sounded good for you guys. So did I. So we all, and his son Sebastian, who was amazing getting it all together as well. Hats off to Sebastian. We really appreciate that, all of his hard work too during the sound check. There is so much varied content appealing to a wide cross-section thanks to Jim Masters TV hard work and dedication. Thank you very much, Marianne Kelly. We appreciate that very, very much. Again, it's a blessing to have all of you here. And we are so excited because we've got an amazing show in store for you right now with my extraordinary guest, John La Barbera. Now, you've probably heard me talking about him at great length. He really is an amazing guy. And he's very, very talented. There he is. And let me tell you a little bit about his extraordinary background. He is, he puts his heart and soul literally into everything he does. He's all about light and levity and love as well, and extraordinary music to boot. John T. La Barbera, Academy Award nominated. Did you know that? Did you know that my dear friend is an Academy Award nominated film score composer, producer, guitar and stringed instrument virtuoso, and concert artist? I knew all that, but now you know. And he has won several awards and commissions from the Jerome Foundation, Lincoln Center for the Performing Arts, the Martin Gruss Foundation, the New York State Council on the Arts, Meet the Composer, UMass Dartmouth, and ASCAP as well. His film scores include Children of Fate, which garnered him an Academy Award nomination in 1992, The Bounty Hunter, Sacco and Vanzetti, Sister Italy, and Panamaro, What's Up Scarlet, Neapolitan Heart, Finding the Mother Lode, Italian Immigrants in California, La Festa, and Tarantella. His silent film scores include Assunta Spina and Charlie Chaplin's The Immigrant. He was invited to screen his film score to Assunta Spina in Italy at the 37th annual Pordenone Silent Film Festival, the largest silent film festival in the world. Isn't that incredible? And also at the Cineteca del Ramona in 2018. In theater, his expertise as composer, arranger, and musical director was valuable in the off-Broadway productions of Souls of Naples, Theater for a New Audience, starring John Turturro, and the stage adaptation of Sicilian playwright Luigi Pirandello's short stories and Chaos, New York Theater Workshop, directed by Marta Clark. Since 1973, he's performed in concert halls around the world with classical music, jazz, and traditional world music as composer, solo guitarist, and chamber music as well throughout Europe, South America, Canada, and the United States. He's also appeared on recording and performance projects with many great artists, including folk singer Judy Collins, who's absolutely phenomenal to work with. I had an opportunity to interview her for her PBS special, 50 Years of Timeless Music, which she filmed, and she was a real delight. So he had a chance to work with her as well. Also, rock drummer John Densmore of The Doors, and so many others. Dominic Chianese, Uncle Jr. from The Sopranos, Hollywood film tracks for Walt Disney Productions, TV and radio jingles, Broadway actress and star of The Lion King, South African vocalist as well, Tsidi Liloka, and the famed Italian-American Neapolitan singer Jimmy Roselli. Now, as a producer, he's had recently produced I'm a Typical New Yorker for Dominic Chianese, and worked for several labels, including Shinachi Records, Meadowlark, Rounder Records, Lyricord Discs, Ellipsis Arts, Bribby Records. He also appears in the film When in Rome by Touchstone Films as the wedding scene mandolinist, bandleader, and in The Bounty Hunter, which of course came from Sony Columbia, as the cocktail guitarist, performing his own composition of Cavatina Blue, which is a beautiful song. He is also the author of the first and foremost book published in the U.S. on the Italian mandolin called Traditional Southern Italian Mandolin and Fiddle Tunes and Italian Folk Music for Mandolin with Mel Bay Publications. You can find him, of course, on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, CD Baby, and his own website as well. He's also a professor of music at Bergen Community College in New Jersey, and he conducts workshops in Italy. His website is johnlabarbera.com. So he's no slacker, that's for sure. Dear friend, very talented, very accomplished, very humble as well. He wouldn't tell you all of that. I'm sharing it with you, but he wouldn't just have a conversation and tell you all those things and accolades and experience that I told you. That's why I love doing it as the host of the show. But we are very honored to welcome him to the show. It's an extraordinary opportunity to be able to do that. And again, he's going to be performing for us as well. So we're very excited about that. Let me welcome my dear friend, musician, arranger, composer, guitarist, you name it. This guy does it. The one and only John La Barbera. John, welcome. I tip my hat to you, my fellow hat guy. How are you today?
Here's my hat.
You got your hat, right? There it is.
From Pordenone.
Very nice. John and I always... It's from Italy. John and I always sort of tease one another because we have I have a massive hat collection. He has a massive hat collection. And a couple of times we've been at events where we each have different hats on and we end up talking about the hats as much as we're talking about the work we're supposed to do. It's pretty cool, huh?
I love it. And I love your hat. The first time we met, I think I had my derby.
You did?
I had a hat on, and then you walked with me to my car, and I just so happened that inside my car, I had a derby.
You did. Oh, right. That's right. That's right. Jennifer Bone was with us. Yes. We came from an event, and that was cool. There was like winter time too, because there were scarves involved. I remember.
Yes.
Yes.
And so I said, Jim, you need a hat. And so we both wore hats that night to Villa Moscone, I think it was.
Yeah. I tell you, we've had so many wonderful occasions where we've shared the same stages. And John, I got to tell you, it's really a blessing to have you on the show. I know you've been watching the shows too, and you've been sharing that you're enjoying these shows.
I love watching you. Like I was saying before when I was speaking to you, that it's really a need for what you're doing today more than ever. And because we all, as humans, we need to communicate, and we need to have that sense. I used to think, after living many years in Italy, the thing that impressed me the most was the piazza, the idea of the piazza.
That's right.
And all throughout, in every town, there's a town where you just go, you get away from your daily life, and you just sit there, and you meet your friends, and you just talk, just spontaneously. And you have created a piazza for all of us to partake in. And it brings, we have that need to communicate. And you make us feel so comfortable.
I appreciate that.
We're at home, we're, having a glass of wine.
You have yours nearby?
Yes,
for our toast. Here's our toast.
Salute.
Toast you, my friend. Salute. Mm.
It's what are you drinking, by the way?
Goes down nice and smooth, doesn't it?
It's nice Chianti.
This is just a little Pinot. Yeah, something light and refreshing for this nice, beautiful day. We were outside doing a little tennis earlier today. So you're there surrounded by all of your treasures, your wonderful guitars and string instruments, and your home studio there. And we did a sound check earlier, which I thought was really terrific because we wanted to make sure that everything sounded really good and everything was the way you wanted it to be. Tell us, John, I talked about the extraordinary accomplishments and the wonderful things you've been able to do. I mean, you are somebody who, which I love and near and dear to my heart, kindred spirits in so many different ways. And you and I have had some really amazing conversations every time that we've talked, every time we've broken bread together. Yeah. And you really love moving and inspiring and touching people through your craft, through your music, in such ways that are deeply profound, right?
Oh, I feel it, deeply inside of me. And it's, all my life, I was searching for ways to communicate. And one of the ways that I had the wonderful opportunity of doing is also by teaching music.
That's right.
Which I love to do. And I love to have contact and to spread my knowledge that I have. And it's a real love that I love to share. I've had wonderful students over the years, privately, as well at Bergen Community College, where I'm adjunct faculty. And it's just been wonderful to be able to share all that. And
Now,
every day I feel like I just want to give whatever, I can.
exactly, exactly. And, that's continuing to pay it forward, because as a performer, an arranger and composer, you're doing that, but then also mentoring young minds and those who are studying music and considering it for their career as well and their way of expressing themselves is really a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Is there ever a tug between the two as far as which you enjoy more, the teaching of it or the performing and creating of it? Will you always be that creator and the performer first in your heart and then the professor? It's a tough
Well,
question, right?
yeah, it is. But in a way, I'm also, as when I'm teaching, it is kind of like I'm performing as well, because you're on stage, you're giving yourself of your knowledge, and I'm just expressing myself through what I could share, and so performing, teaching, I find like it's very similar. There's a lot to it, and
Mm,
I've been very fortunate to be able to teach around the world as well, to give workshops, sharing, and not only am I teaching, I'm learning also. I've learned
that's
so
right.
much from so many of my students, and I've learned so much by doing that, and
Let's
especially going to different countries.
That's right, exactly. And exposing yourself to different cultures and different ways of presentation and different sounds and uses of different instruments, which is extraordinary. Continuing to open your mind and absorb it all and then interpret it into your works of art and your compositions. Let's talk a little bit, my friend, about how you first what was your initial sparks, in your own life's journey of inspiration that pointed you in the direction of music, and specifically the kinds of music that you really love and specialize in. Did you come from a musical family yourself, John?
I came from a family that was surrounded by music,
Yeah.
even though my parents didn't play music, but they were great appreciators of music.
Right.
And I had two uncles that were musicians in New York City in the 1930s, and they used to do serenades in down in the Lower East Side of Manhattan. I was born in the East Village, and so at that time, my family they came from around St. Mark's Place,
Mm-hmm.
and I was born on Fifth Street. And so on my father's side, he had two brothers that were musicians. One played the violin, and his brother played the guitar. And I was very fortunate that I had these two uncles, because I remember anytime a family gathering, especially in the summer times, they would be outside playing music. And it was just a joyous sound, to be around food, around family, and music.
Mm.
And so, that was a big influence on me. My grandfather, on my mother's side, he owned a shoe repair on the East Village, on East 9th Street. And he would have, in his shoe repair shop, he would always have on the Italian opera,
Mm.
Italian singers. And so I'd go in to visit my grandfather, and I would hear all this music. Music was so important to the culture that, it started to make an impression on me. And I think one of the first times that I think that I was deeply inspired by music was when I was listening to a soundtrack.
Mm.
And later on, I realized that was a big influence on me. And the film was called La Strada by Fellini. When I was growing up, there used to be a program on television called The $1 Million Movie.
Oh yeah, WOR Channel 9, New
That's
York.
right. The
That's it.
wonderful thing about da 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 da, which was
Yeah.
right, that was the theme song.
Mm-hmm.
So if you didn't get a chance to watch the movie at 5 o'clock, it would replay, and for the whole week, the same movie would go on and on. So La Strada was on, and I watched it one time. I was very young because I didn't really understand the story so well, but I did understand the music. The music really was the thing that theme of
Yeah.
of La Strada.
Yeah.
And the thing that I remember the most was that I could feel the emotion behind that music because it can make you cry.
It's very moving, very beautiful.
And I was thinking, how could that sound give us these emotions that make us happy, that makes us want to cry? What is the magic behind all of that?
Right.
How is that done? And I went upstairs to my room and I tried to figure out a way that I could remember the melody. Because it was running in my head, but I never took any music lessons, at that age. And then I started to make up my own notation on a piece of paper. I just wrote down, scribble, basically. So then that was like my earliest memory. Other than that, my father loved music so much that he would always bring home albums of all kinds of music.
Yeah.
From classical music, he brought home like Rimsky-Korsakov, all the classics. Those themes, those beautiful romantic melodies, and then the next minute he would have like Bunny Berrigan, he would have Benny Goodman, Glenn Miller, and
the
of course
band,
big bands. Because my parents grew up during the big band era.
Sure, yeah.
And they love that, and of course they love Sinatra. So, mixing all of that together, it was just, I couldn't escape. I mean, music was, I would run home from school and put on an album and just would like dance around the house, putting on music. And I knew somehow I had to express myself. And I needed an instrument. So that was the question. How am I going to get an instrument? So at first I thought maybe the clarinet because I love Benny Goodman. Hearing that clarinet,
right.
But that seemed like impossible. We didn't know where we could get a clarinet. Back in those days, you couldn't just look up, online where you're going to find things.
Right, and you get it from Amazon or something. Right, exactly. Yeah. Did you sing? Were you singing as well then? Try singing?
I wanted to sing. But then my brother Dennis, who's a couple of years older than me, he had a beautiful voice, and so he encouraged my father to get me a guitar. Because my father at first was a little bit, he was holding back a little bit because he thought maybe I'd just be a fad, And he convinced my father to get me the guitar. And then it was on a Friday night. I still remember it was.
I remember the Friday night too.
Friday night, my father used to get home from work around 3:00, and from the city. We lived in Queens then, and he said, "Okay, we're gonna look for a music store," and there was a music store in Jamaica on Hillside Avenue, I think. And we went into this store, and I saw so many guitars, and I wanted to get the guitar, and be able to play something by the time my mom got home from work.
Right.
So I got the guitar. I got a book that came with a record, and I put that on. And my brother was helping me. He said, "Man, put your finger here, put your finger there." So I just did that. I was able to play a chord. I got a chord out. I was like, "Wow, this sounds something." So I figured these were simple chords, one finger each, and I learned how to play 2 chords. And by the time my mom came home, I said, "Hey, Mom, listen to this." And she was like, she was so happy. And my parents were very supportive, and, I was very fortunate. So they always gave me encouragement. And, from that, so those early days and influences. So my brother and I, we used to sing a lot. And it was during the time of a lot of folk music, American folk music. Like the Kingston Trio, Pete Seeger, Peter, Paul, and Mary.
Oh, yeah.
And so the guitar was so important then because it was an instrument that it wasn't that expensive. My first guitar was $15, which seemed like a lot of money back then.
Right. It was.
Yeah.
It was, right?
Yeah. So right away, I mean, I was like very much into it, and we started to learn folk songs, American folk songs. So my brother and I and my 2 cousins would meet, because they were also learning how to play the guitar. And then we
Right.
started learning folk songs. And from that, we started to, practice. And then we formed a band. And that band was called The Fugitives. Now, can you guess how we got that name, The Fugitives?
Yeah, how'd you come up with that?
Okay. Well, back in those times, there used to be a television show.
Oh yeah, was
called
starring, wasn't it starring David Jansen?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah,
The Fugitive. That was the #1 TV show.
I'm the TV trivia guy.
Oh, all right. Well, there you go. So we of course, we didn't think of that title yet. The way we
Right.
got the title was we were all coming up with trying to find ideas. So we came up with the idea of let's look in the TV guide.
Yeah.
Now the
Thumb
TV,
through.
yes, the TV guide was very important because
Oh, sure.
that listed all the shows of the week.
It was television's Bible. Absolutely.
Television Bible. Everybody had a subscription to the TV guide. So,
Yes.
all right, let's go to the TV guide. We're just going to do like a blindfold thing. And somebody open the book, close your eyes, and point to a page. And wherever you point to, we're going to get the name from that. So somebody, I don't remember, but they opened it up and they pointed, and it pointed to The Fugitive. So they came up with the name of The Fugitives. And that was the name of our band. And don't ask me how, but we wound up playing at the New York World's Fair.
I was going to say, good thing that they didn't pick maybe H.R. Puffin stuff or something.
Yeah, who knows? Or,
Could have been anything else.
Lamp to my feet.
Land of the Lost, The Twilight Zone. Could have been anything.
So we were lucky for that.
That was the 65 World's Fair?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The 1965 World's Fair. We played at the New York State Pavilion, which is still there. It's part of Meadowlands, the Meadowlands Park.
Flushing Meadow.
Flushing Meadows,
Flushing
yes.
Meadow, yeah, by Citi Field and where the U.S. Open is played. Right, exactly.
You see, there's still the Globe is still there.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
The Globe.
Yeah.
And the New York State Pavilion, actually, the building is still up.
Yeah, all designed by that extraordinary. I studied architecture and design before I went into communications, television, radio, and all, and that was all designed by the one and only Robert Moses.
Oh yes,
Robert Moses, the master builder who built all of the parkways on Long Island and museums, and I believe the Whitestone Bridge, Throgs Neck Bridge in New York, the Triborough Bridge was all him. He built the World's Fair in 1964. Robert Moses Causeway in State Beach on South Shore of Long Island, all him.
Yes.
Master builder.
Yeah, he was everywhere.
There was a documentary on PBS about that particular World's Fair and everything that they had to go through to get that off the ground, and that was really, really fascinating. It was quite an undertaking to take that area and turn it into that. The future of tomorrow and the land of tomorrow, and oh yeah, absolutely.
The flying cars.
Yeah, the flying cars, right? It's supposed to be very much like Jetsons, right?
we were supposed to have that by now. What happened?
We're supposed to have it by now. I did a little research. Our crack research team here at the Jim Masters Show, we leave no stone unturned, and look what we came up with.
What?
The Fugitives.
Yes.
At the 65 World's Fair, right?
At the New York State exhibit.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the name of the band, the Fugitives, you could see.
That's
and
amazing.
My brother Dennis was lead singer. And notice we all wore suits.
Very sharp, very sharp.
Well, that was what the influence of those
the Beatles.
Beatles, yes.
The Beatles,
that was our big inspiration, the Beatles.
You can see that there. Absolutely. Yeah. Very clean cut and very, that's a very, very cool shot. And you're in a small little stage area, or you're actually
that was built right in the center of the New York State Pavilion.
You look like you're an exhibit. Yeah. It looks like you're part of an exhibit. Yeah,
it was. It was interesting because I'll never forget that day. My whole family came.
Oh yeah,
it was
that's
like
a big day.
A big day. My aunts from the city, and My nieces were there. Everybody was there. Now, if you look closely at the guitars,
Yeah.
at the end of the guitar, there's a thing hanging down.
Mm-hmm.
That was a tiger's tail.
Mm.
Now, the reason why we had that, because that was like a promotional thing that the gas stations, Texaco, remember there was the commercial, the tiger in your tank?
Oh yeah, that's right. You're right.
Tiger in your tank. So they were giving out these tiger tails. And
Mm-hmm.
so that was our trademark. We put it at the end of our guitars.
Very, very cool. That's
Little bit
really, really cool.
60s nostalgia right there.
That's amazing. That's a great shot. We have some more here too that I want to show our illustrious audience from around the world. If you're just joining us, I'm your host, Jim Masters. You're watching the Jim Masters Show live worldwide on YouTube and Facebook at Jim Masters TV. My dear friend and our very special guest, the one and only musical extraordinaire, arranger, composer, guitarist, musician, you name it, John La Barbera is joining us here. There's another cool shot.
Oh,
Ooh, who's that young whippersnapper there?
that's the young Johnny Mambo. That's me. Okay, so that goes now quite a few years after the World's Fair.
Right.
When I finished my undergraduate at the Hartt School of Music in Hartford, Connecticut.
Oh, that's a great school. Yeah.
Yes, I was very fortunate. I got my degree in classical guitar there. And when I graduated, my professor, Joe Del Principe, he offered me a scholarship to study in Siena, Italy. And that unfolded a whole new world for me. To be able to go, I was 23 years old, and I went off to study in Siena.
Very nice.
Beautiful city.
Oh, yeah.
And that was a big changeover in my life. I went there, and I was mostly doing a lot of classical guitar. By that time, I had gone through rock. I played jazz. I played folk music, and then the classical music. So that photograph was taken outside of the Uffizi Museum, the most famous museum in Florence. And that was a bench, stone bench. It was probably made around 14 something.
Yeah.
It was part of the Medici Palace. The Medici family were very wealthy bankers who were influential in starting the Renaissance. And so their palace was across the way, and they built this another building that would cross over the river, over the Arno River, where the Ponte Vecchio is, and it would lead to the Palazzo Boboli, or the Pitti Palace. And so that was built by the Medici family in the 1400s, and that bench was there, and I used to call it the stone bench. I wrote a whole story about it. And I used to go there because by that time, I knew that I wanted to live in Italy, and I had to find a way to make a living.
Sure.
So as you can see in that photograph, my guitar case is open, and I was busking. And I met this wonderful violinist. Her name was Adriana Dengerink from Holland. I know we have a friend in Holland, right?
Willie. Yes.
Willie. Yes, my friend Adriana, the violinist. She was an au pair girl. She was working in Florence, and I must have met her in the piazza or something. And she played the violin, and she played the guitar, and she also loved a lot of the same music that I loved. And she said, "Hey, let's play some music together." And so we went out and we played music in the daytime. And that photograph actually was taken by a professional photographer. And they owned a photography store in the Piazza Repubblica in Florence. And one day I was walking by that store, the photography store, and I look in the window and I see, hey, that's me. You know, they have me hanging up in the window.
Wow.
There, and I said,
How'd that make you feel?
I was like amazed. I said, wow, what are the chances of that? You know, because I didn't have a camera. I didn't have any way to take any pictures.
Mm.
So I pleaded with them. I said, oh, please, can I have that photograph? And they finally gave it to me. And that's how I got that. I would have never known. I didn't even know anybody was taking any pictures.
Right.
All these, you know, it's funny because I wound up in a lot of photographs. I wound up in a calendar one time of the 1975 polio race, horse race.
Mm.
I'm sorry I didn't send you that picture, but I had that picture. It was the calendar of the year. The horse race is a very famous race that they do. It's a pageant that they do in Siena.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in the crowd of 10,000 people, all piled into the Piazza del Campo. And for some strange reason, that's another photograph that I didn't know I was in until like 5 years later. And I gave the calendar to my uncle Johnny, who had a shoe repair store, and he had a hobby of hanging calendars on the wall. And I love that calendar. It just happened to be on that month. And my cousin Jay went in, and he said, "Hey Johnny, your picture's on this calendar." And you could see me in the crowd like so distinctly. And it was so how I wound up in that photograph too. That's another.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Story. So that was another brand new chapter in my life. My experiences in Italy.
Mm. Here's something else that brings you back down memory lane here as we share that. And if you're just joining us, we've got some wonderful clips of John in action. He's also got his wonderful instruments there. He's going to be playing live for us as well. So much more coming up. Don't go anywhere, everybody. How about this one here?
Sacco and Vanzetti.
Yes.
Documentary film by Peter Miller, who's also a very important Academy Award filmmaker of documentary films. And part of the way that I got involved in Italian music was through those years that I lived in Italy.
Mm.
And I had absorbed a lot of the traditional folk music because from that sitting in that piazza led me to live in Florence. And while living there, I met some wonderful musicians who brought me into the world of Italian folk music. In the 1970s was a big revival of folk music. Folk music was the first folk revival. Just as like in the United States in the 60s, folk music was a big revival in the 60s.
Right.
You know, think of all those groups, you know, that then Paul Simon and, you know,
Peter Paul and Mary,
Joni Mitchell. That was starting to happen in Italy in the 70s. And they were going into the traditional music, finding those old folk songs and bringing them back to life again. And the young people, young students, such as myself at that period of time, we were putting together a group of traditional music because we wanted to revive it. And so my friends taught me the songs and I wrote them down. And I went on and collected hundreds of songs without even knowing it. Because they would sing me the song and they had learned it by oral tradition. And so I had no way I had no tape recorder. So I wound up writing it out and transcribing it. And the group became known as Pupi e Frezzette, which means puppets and bread. That leads us also to bread and puppets. So there's so many. That's another. Okay, so going back to Sacco and Vanzetti, Peter Miller had approached me because of my knowledge in Italian music. And he wanted an authentic sound for the film score. And so I was very happy and honored to work with him on such a very important film of the tragic events of the execution of Sacco and Vanzetti, which were, you know, they were put to death from 1920. It was the largest trial in America at that time. So if you have a chance, please see if you could watch that film.
Hmm.
I used a lot of the instruments that I have. It was actually recorded right here in the attic where I am right now.
Really?
Yeah, Peter Miller came to my house and he just sat down. I didn't watch the film, which was very unbelievable because he just told me to the scene and he gave me some ideas, and then I just started to pick up my guitar and I turned on the record and I started to get ideas for it, and then developed into a whole film score.
Mm,
it's a beautiful film, and John Turturro is does the voiceover, and Tony Shalhoub.
Oh yeah, Monk.
Yeah, Monk. They're doing the voiceover in the film, so it's a beautiful film. It's available, I think, on First Run Records, First Run Films.
That's absolutely amazing, John.
Everything just happened. Like I wasn't really looking to do that film because I didn't know he was making that film, and he contacted me,
Mm-hmm.
and then just led to the next thing.
And that's sometimes in life what really happens, right? This fall, the energy just flows, and I think it's that law of attraction, right?
Yeah, and I think also because I was doing something that I was so steeped in,
Right.
Deeply, and it was a big part of my life to be involved in music. I mean, I looked at music as constant evolution, as a way of evolving my personal life, and who I am as a human and what I have to offer is through music.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And I've got another photo from our wonderful trip down memory lane. Here is another cool shot.
There's Dominic.
Mm.
There's Dominic, good old Dominic. We met, and in fact, that photograph is at the Friars Club.
Oh, it is. Yeah, you can see, right? Yeah.
That's where we met. We met at the Friars Club. As you see, I have in my hand the mandolin. I was called to be part of a special Italian celebration that they were doing that night. And I did a little performance by myself, and Dominic happened to be there. And he came over to me after I finished playing, and he said, "Hey, Johnny, I have this song. I wrote this song, and it's about my grandfather.
Mm.
I've always wanted to hear it on the mandolin." And he said, "I'd like to work with you. Would you be interested?" And I said, "Of course." I said, "This sounds like a wonderful idea." And so he did a version of it that night. But before he went on, he played it for me, back in the back room. And I fooled around on the mandolin, and I said, "This is a beautiful song." And then he said, "Let's go up on stage and do it." And that's
really,
yeah.
What was that like?
It was wonderful because it was so spontaneous, and I knew right off. I really felt his warmth and his friendship. He's such a genuine human being, and we just became great friends after that. And it was all just like, it was all natural. How it all happened. He just said, "We're going to do something together. We're going to work together, and we're going to, let's just meet. And we'll put something together." And so I met in his studio, and then we just started. I was playing, and he loved the Italian songs, and he had a lot of original songs.
Mm-hmm.
And then over the course of about a year and a half, 2 years, he would come over to my house, and he would play some of the songs, and then he said, "Just whatever you play." And every time he'd come over, I'd bring another instrument and say, I'd show him this instrument, and he says, "Oh wow, what's that?" And then I wound up on his album. I wound up putting a lot of these different instruments that he had no idea would be, and the album is his original music, and then there's some Dylan songs that I arranged.
Nice.
American folk songs, Italian songs. It's a nice blend of album.
Speaking of all of that, how about this here?
Okay, there you go. That's the fruit of it.
You like that nice segue?
I love that. I like the way you're putting these up. That's called Italian Folk Music for Mandolin. That actually was my second book, because the first book became a bestseller. And I just recently found out, my friend August Waters contacted me. He said, your books are like some of the top 10 of the folk music books for mandolin. And I said, really? I didn't realize that. So Mel Bay encouraged me to do another book. So this is the book on all of the different regions of Italy, from the north to the south. Mm-hmm. And, the Italian folk music is so varied. A song from Venice is not going to sound anything like a song from Sicily. It's like the language and the food. It all goes together with the food. And so these books are kind of like, they're like little jewels for me, because I wanted to search for the right songs that would make people happy.
That's right.
And this like little delicacies. Hey, would you like a little bit of this? A little bit of that?
We've got it for you.
Yeah, you have a little entree, right?
Absolutely. Here's another one.
That's the first one.
That's the first one. Yeah.
Traditional Southern Italian mandolin and fiddle tunes. So all these tunes on the mandolin can also be played on the fiddle. Italian mandolin and Italian violin, because violin and mandolin read the same music. Right. It's like the plucked version of it. So it branches out, and there's about 30 or 40 songs in that. And originally it came with a CD, but now it's all online. And it has an audio to it. And it's not only just the music, but it's the history. And every page and each song, I put a little bit background about the song, because since it's folk songs, mm-hmm. you have songs of love, you have songs of work songs for the olive pickers and the fishermen, songs for the women who shuck the almonds, and then lullabies, songs of the prisoners, songs of every walk of life that come alive. And so every song tells a story. And I think that's part of the folk tradition, is passing down stories. And mm-hmm. stories tell us some more, because I feel like, I guess it's almost like my interest in theater and film, because I feel like it's beautiful to have the mixture of music together with images. Right. Programmatic music that came about in the 19th century. You had absolute music, and then you had programmatic music. So absolute music was just music for music's sake, like symphony in G. What do you think of when you hear symphony in G? Yeah. Yeah. Right. Or trio in E flat. Right. But then Beethoven starts to write the Moonlight Sonata, and that changes everything. Everything changed from there, right? Yeah, I mean, he gave you a picture to think of, and so before the idea of photography, Beethoven was already giving you images. And so when he was playing that, he wanted you to see that in your mind, and your mind was the film. That's and all throughout that 19th century, all the composers were writing, all this programmatic music. And that led to, around by the late 19th century, when photography was more and more developed, film was the next logical step. Right. Okay, so, so if you connect all those little pieces together, that's what I love. And opera also was telling you a story. Exactly. And when you really look at music, so much of it is weaved and has grown out of one particular genre. You have this one particular genre, this one different style for a certain period of time, and then elements of that sort of branch out and become other genres, still with those nuances and essences of the original genre of music. But then, jazz is another one that there's a lot that's sort of pivoted out of jazz as well. And it's really extraordinary when you take time to really understand that. And I love music too. I'm a music buff and always have been. And
I just love how it all threads together. It all just really, I mean, sometimes if you define it individually, it has its own individual character and articulation to the way it's presented. But so much of it is so historically interwoven, isn't it, John?
It's all, yeah, just exactly what you said. And the more that I delve into it and, and trace it back, to throughout the course of history, how important it's been telling stories.
That's right.
Yeah.
And sometimes even with puppets. Tell us about that. You were mentioning that earlier, right?
Yeah, there's the puppets. That's Peter Schumann, one of the greatest puppeteers, puppet makers up in Glover, Vermont. He created the Bread and Puppet Theater in the 1960s. He came from Germany, came to New York, and he started his troupe based on, my cousin, Ciao Cugino.
Yeah,
Man
yeah.
from Planet X.
Got some great comments actually coming in here.
Hello, Gail and Mark. Willie.
Willie. Yeah.
Hello, Willie. Roberta.
Mm-hmm. We even have Brazil watching right now.
Yeah. Oh, my friends from Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, a wide audience here. This is wonderful.
It's a wide audience. It's actually, yeah.
So what you're seeing there, that is, hello, Adriana.
From Brazil as well. Absolutely, yeah. Mm-hmm.
We have those two puppets there. The one is the Viceroy, and the other one is the Queen of Spain. Those were giant 15-foot puppets. And those puppets are run by 3 or 4 people. There's a giant pole that runs down the middle, in which it takes 3 really strong people to hold that up. And the arms are on long branches. Each arm has a person running the arms. And that was from a show called The Ballad of Masaniello.
Mm.
Peter Schumann came to Italy in the 1970s when I was living there, and he saw us playing in the piazza. He heard our music. The group I was with was called Pupi Fresede, and it was music and theater because we just started to do some theater. And he heard the group, and he fell in love with the music, the traditional folk music that we were doing. And he said, I want to find a way to bring you to America and to do a show based on some of these songs. And so we did this one song called La Ballata di Masaniello. And it's a song that was written in the 16th century about a fisherman who leads a revolt against the high taxes that were imposed during the Spanish domination. And he became like a folk hero. And so this song was about him. So he took that and he created this puppet show called The 14 Days of Masaniello. And we got to tour, so he brought us to America. So here I am, I'm living in, hello, Barbara. We're living in Italy. And now I'm being flown back to the United States. I had a free ticket back, and we all traveled together, my friends from Italy. We became very close friends. In fact, we're still friends 45 years later. From the day we met till now, we've been friends. We're like friends. We're lifelong friends.
Yeah.
My friends are like Fulvio and Anna and Pino.
Isn't that beautiful when that happens? Isn't that beautiful? It's what life's all about.
Yeah, and we were all on that show together. We all went up to Vermont. I had never been to Vermont in my life, and Peter Schumann brought us up there, and we stayed. We lived on a farm.
Nice.
And every year, Peter Schumann does the pageant. This pageant is something that comes out of medieval folklore, because what they do is they have a pine forest, and at night they do theatrical shows, torch lit, and you wander through, like at midnight, you wander through the pine forest, and they build stages within the pine forest.
Yeah.
And they do puppet shows.
A very New England thing to do. Yeah.
Yes. And then at right before that, though, I think around right before midnight, they have a beautiful pageant, and the grounds up in Glover, Vermont, it's a natural amphitheater. So usually 25,000 people show up, and they would sit along the hillside, and they would watch the pageant at night, and it would end with a giant bonfire. And the whole field would be ablaze.
Yeah.
And so the theme that year was Masaniello, and we did the music for it, and we toured all over the East Coast, and we came to New York. We had a review in the New York Times. It was a wonderful, wonderful experience, to have music, and coming from Italy, that new life that I learned over there with that music, and bringing it to America, and performing, and that's how those books came about, So it's all based on stories of songs.
Yeah, and life lived, life observed. I've asked a lot of people this question, and I've always done this, whenever I've done interviews. And I mentioned the other night, I think I've interviewed over 6,000 people in my career on television and radio, in the different formats and different venues. And you're one of the questions I always ask of creatives like us, people who create and like to inspire and empower other people. You truly are an observer of life and an observer of people and all that comes with it, right? And that's reflected in your work.
Yeah. Well, thank you for saying that. That's beautiful. Well, as an artist yourself, and we're like sponges. We absorb the world and we express it. I think all artists, that's what we try to do, and I also believe in the infinity, the never-ending energy, so it's like when you're performing, you're giving, and what you receive back comes back to you, and it keeps going. And it's never, it's in an ebb and flow. It has to be that way.
And we feed off. I'm a very communal person, so I feed off the energy of others and then bring it back tenfold, like you do too. That energy, that response, what's actually happening, it charges you, it fills you, and then you just want to even present even more.
Oh yeah.
Which is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Tiffany's here. Tiffany was with us last night, the Irish fiddle violinist.
Oh, I loved watching you last night.
That was a fun interview, right? And she performed as well. And
beautiful performer.
Wonderful.
I do a lot of music with violin.
You do, right? Yeah.
Yes, I've been working with the lovely Susan Aquila, who you'll see in some of the films we've been working together. She's an excellent musician.
Mm-hmm.
She's also a rock violinist, and she's doing really well. She's got something on Sony right now, and she's been doing the silent films together with me. And it's the soul of that violin that comes through, especially the films that I've chosen. Two of them are about women, and they were directed by women, which is very important. These silent films, one goes from 1915. And the other one is from 1921. And already at that period of time, women were at the forefront in the film industry. And very little is known about it. And, I chose these films for that importance, and also because of the, with the violin and the way Susan plays the melody. She's like the soul that comes to life again in that film of these characters.
Absolutely. That's beautifully said. That's a wonderful way to envision it. And that's what it is. It's bringing things to life that touch people in ways that go beyond the norm, whether it's music, whether it's, theater or it's television or film or drawing or just making something, even something as baking an apple pie and giving it to somebody, have a slice. Just those simple things in life,
cooking.
gardening or cooking.
Gardening, yeah. I'm growing tomatoes and, you know,
All of
food.
that.
It's all, you know, and I love to cook. I know, you know.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, you love it too. You know, it's like, it's all part of it's all connected. Wine, food, music.
Good times, good people. That's what it's all about. And
I'm sorry.
no, go ahead. Yeah, it's what it's all about, right?
The silent films, you know, how I got into doing that was also another kind of a recent direction that I've started to go into, because I loved working with film, composing for film. And then with silent film, though, it's opened up a whole new world, because the music is the dialogue.
Right.
There's nothing else going on, but the experience of watching a film and then hearing live music at the same time is something that we lost, and it's starting to come back. And that's why, you know, that you know, for the past few years I've been doing the festivals, and I currently I'm working with a wonderful producer, Peter LaDunn. I think I mentioned it to you.
You did, yeah.
Peter LaDunn is a Broadway producer, and he also runs the Jacopone Theater at Bergen Community College, where I teach. And I gave Peter an idea about presenting silent film series, because we just started. They have a brand new screen the last couple of years, and he wanted to start a film series there. So I proposed to him of doing a silent film. He hadn't thought of that, but then so I wound up. We brought in last October Donald Sosin, an excellent silent film composer, who also he's a great composer. You'd like to have him on your show as well. And I met him in Italy, Pordenone, where I was invited to present the films. And we started up a silent film festival at Bergen Community College. So we were going to have it in the fall, but right now we're thinking of doing a silent film series online.
Nice. That'd be nice.
Yeah. So hopefully we can, you know, collaborate with a couple other universities and keep that
put that all together. Absolutely. Here's another shot there. Tell us about that.
Okay. Well, that was when I first was invited to present The Immigrant. As you could see, that's called Sociale. That's the club, the venue where I was invited to go. They invited me. They flew me to Italy to perform The Immigrant, and I was performing then with one of the most famous mandolin players in Italy, Carlo Alonso, and we teamed up together. And when I did it in Italy, we performed it together. It was for mandolin and guitar. So originally, when I scored the film, a lot of my ideas when I compose on the guitar. Most composers, many composers compose with the piano, and but all my inspiration was coming from the guitar, and then I transferred it to the mandolin for the main melody. And that poster that you just saw was in the area known as Liguria, right near Genoa, and we performed the film there. It's called Charlot. Charlot is the name that they give to Charlie Chaplin. That was his French name, Charlot. It's Charlie Chaplin, and that was for a little tour that I did 2 summers ago. They do great publicity in Italy. I love the way they publicize things, and as you could see, like they had hundreds of those made up, and it was a nice venue. See, it says Charlot Emigrante, and they put up a nice picture. And then we did it in the Cineteca. I was invited to the Cineteca.
Wow.
discoteca, but the Cineteca.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Italian film. There are several archives of films in Italy. I think there are 5. Bologna and Rome, and then in Gemona in the area of Friuli. And that when they invited me to go there, they took me on a tour of the archives, and I had to put on a very heavy coat because the films have to be kept under a certain temperature.
Yes,
It was
absolutely.
a cold room, and
Right.
it was in the middle of the summer. And they took me on a tour, and then they showed me how they restore the films, because a lot of these silent films have to have been restored because some of them, not the complete versions of the films. A lot of them were lost, and a lot of them were in bad condition. Many films were destroyed in fire because the original films were on celluloid, which was very flammable.
Right.
I don't know if did you see the movie Cinema Paradiso?
Yes. Yes.
You remember there was a fire?
Right. Mm-hmm.
That happens a lot
Yeah.
because the films were very flammable, and a lot of films were destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
So it's it's
That's
wonderful.
why a lot of films now and television shows, classic television shows and more, they're in these really, deep down under fireproof, climate controlled vaults down below in the earth on purpose. So you're going to go several feet below the earth to access this footage and music and so much more because it needs the cooler temperature, the darker, and it has to be fireproof and heat proof. Otherwise, things are lost forever, and it's happened many times.
I know. I watched a documentary film of the first film diva. Her name was Francesca Bertini, and she made over 100 films when she started making films when she was like 18 or 19 years old.
Right.
And in 1914, 1915, she became a leading film star. She was known as the first diva of Italian film. And I watched a documentary film about her, and she said that hundreds of her films were destroyed in fires, and only a few of them survived. It must be so heartbreaking. When you think of what they put into it,
absolutely,
just lost like that.
And it happens with some television shows too. I think the first several years of the Tonight Show, when Johnny Carson became the host, it was Steve Allen, then Jack Parr, then Johnny Carson. The first number of years in the 60s, they're gone. They don't have them anywhere to be found. Yeah. That's why when Johnny Carson took over, one of the things that he said was he wanted to have ownership of the actual footage because he wanted to keep it pristine, and it's down in vaults now. And now they've been able to re-air it on television and DVDs and everything because he thought ahead way back then to take control of the ownership of that particular footage and preserve it so it didn't get erased because the network had erased it years earlier. Do you recall, a little trivia here, I'm sure you know this, when they were creating the theme for the Tonight Show, dun 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 dun, they when he was talking to the network and he was becoming the host, they wanted to change the theme and create a new theme for the Tonight Show, which of course became this legendary theme that we always think of. You hear that music, you think of Johnny Carson, you think of that version, 30 plus years of the Tonight Show. Do you know who approached Johnny with that theme, who wrote the theme to the Tonight Show, presented it to Johnny Carson, and then Johnny Carson listened to it, fell in love with it, and they agreed. They worked out some sort of a deal. I know Johnny Carson, every time it aired, he got a piece of that theme. Right. But the person that penned it and created it was Paul Anka.
Really?
Paul Anka.
Wow.
Created the Tonight Show theme. Amazing.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that.
Paul Anka.
Yeah, Paul Anka, he wrote so many great songs.
Didn't he?
He's still performing, I think. You think he's
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was. you know, the thing about television music, the theme songs. If you think of the theme songs
Yeah.
of the early television shows, they were written by fantastic, like Quincy Jones.
Oh yeah.
You know, there's so many of them. You know, the I Love Lucy theme,
That's right. Mm-hmm.
and you know,
All
a
of them.
lot
Yeah.
them were jazz musicians. There's a
Yeah.
whole thing about jazz and television.
Absolutely. Yeah. A lot of them came out of right. Exactly. Some more trivia for you. You know the theme, and it's used on Channel 2 in New York. It's also used, I think, it's used basically by all the CBS affiliated or CBS owned and operated stations, the local stations, Chicago, Philadelphia, New York, LA. And it's this one piece of music that when you hear it, it makes you think of either CBS or it makes you think of that local station. In New York, it was Channel 2 News. And it was da-na-na-na-na, da-na-na-na-na.
Yes.
That was written by Dick Marks. It was written originally in Chicago. He was a jazz jingle writer and musician. His son is Richard Marks, the singer who sang.
Oh yeah, I remember him.
Wherever you go, I'll be here waiting for you.
Yes.
The performer, that's his son. And he was a jazz musician, Dick Marks, and was tasked with coming up with a news theme for Channel 2 in Chicago. So when you hear that theme, no matter what city has a CBS station owned by CBS, and you watch the news and you hear da-na-na-na-na, da-na-na-na-na, what it's actually originally saying is, I love Chicago, Chicago I love. It was written for Chicago's Channel 2 and then became, all the stations picked it up. Production music, news music, jingles. I love all that stuff because that created theme and feeling, recognizability, image. Yeah.
Well, no, it's great. And, you know, it's really a shame now that a lot of that.
It's all gone.
Jingle writing, because, you know, in the 80s, I got involved in writing jingles. I don't know if I had mentioned that to you.
Yes, you and I talked about that. We talked about Waldo de los Rios. We've talked about Christmas music. Yeah.
Yeah. No, my friend Paul Godwin, he got me into. He was working for a company called North 40.
Yeah.
And that was a jingle house. And all day long, you just, you know, the way it worked was that an advertising company would come up with a campaign, and they would send out, you know, like these films to these jingle houses, and it was kind of like a contest. You had to, whoever wrote the song, you had to write it, you had to hire the musicians, record it, all within like within a day, and it was 30 seconds. And in New York, you got the top, you know, musicians would come in, and I still remember. You know who came into where I worked a lot was Chris Bodie.
Oh, yeah, the trumpeter. I interviewed him on PBS. What a great guy. Down to earth, regular guy.
Chris Bodie,
he's terrific.
He would come in and he would record. And I met him backstage, and I mentioned it to him, and he said, "Oh, yeah, wow, North 40. Wow, that, you know, he remembered that. But he used to come in and do jingles. Charlie Giordano, the keyboard player for Bruce Springsteen.
You know who else used to write a lot of jingles? Barry Manilow.
Yes.
Barry Manilow wrote a lot of jingles. Alan Thicke wrote a lot of TV show themes. Alan Thicke. And then there was the really amazing people, Ed Kalehoff. I don't know if you know him. If you Google him, you hear all of his news music. And he wrote the theme to The Price is Right.
Yeah.
And so much production music, news theme music. And there was a really big campaign in New York in the 90s. And then after 9/11, WNBC Channel 4, the NBC-owned station, brought it back to lift the spirits of the tri-state area. And it was that incredible image campaign, I'm for New York. We're for New York for Channel 4. Really, really fantastic. Another one is Frank Gehry, who used to be a singer in the 50s and 60s. And then he became a massive powerhouse for jingles. He would do a lot of the network jingles too.
Yeah.
Like, come on along with ABC. All those singing jingles, those 2-minute promotional singing jingles that they used to do, creating the image and the branding for the network. So a lot of these people that were singers and composers and musicians went into jingles, which was a tremendous business.
It was, yeah, and it kept the musicians working. You know, in New York, you know, if you were a good reader, you know, you'd be hired on the spot, because that's what they needed, people who could just walk in.
Right.
They hand you the chart, and you get to play. So I was fortunate because my training in classical music, I had classes in sight reading, where they put a piece of music in front of me and I had to read it, you know, perfectly. And that gave me a lot of, you know, training in becoming a good reader. And
Absolutely.
that's very important, you know. So, you know, we had, you know, it gave a lot of work to musicians.
Yeah. And singers.
And singers.
The Ron Hicklin singers, you ever hear of them? They were amazing. They did a lot of jingles. They turned out to be the background singers for the Partridge Family. They were the main singers for the Monkees. They sang the TV series Open Love American Style. I mean, unbelievable. And it's all of them, the Ron Hicklin singers.
That's incredible. A whole other. A lot of times I talk to my students about jingles and the effect that it has.
Yeah.
You know, on your you know, your mind, how music can like sway you. You know?
Well, they used to have the jingles would make you think of a particular show or movie or radio or TV station or what have you, or product. And they used to have mascots too. There would be something like, you know, Charlie the Tuna, or the Pillsbury Doughboy, or Josephine the plumber for Comet. They used to Madge the Palmolive lady, dip her hands in the Palmolive, and all that. You don't really see that anymore. I hope they bring some of that back.
I know, we should.
You know? Morris the cat for 9 Lives. And anyway, I want to, the clips of Carson and Don Rickles are the best. You can see all that on YouTube. Some cool stuff. I want to share some music for the folks that are watching. Yes, John is going to be performing, and we also have some clips. First, I want to show a clip of you doing your thing, and then we'll come back to some of the remaining photos too, John. But I want to share one of the clips, and then we have another fantastic clip, and then I know you're going to perform for us as well, which I'm very excited about, and I appreciate you doing, my phenomenal friend. But here's a clip of John doing his thing. Enjoy it, folks. I'm your host, Jim Masters, here on the Jim Masters Show Live. John La Barbera, my very special guest. And here he is doing his thing. And here we go. Enjoy. Welcome back. That one there, sometimes it gets a little finicky. Didn't want to play that one, but that was absolutely beautiful. Tell us about what we just enjoyed. That was really beautiful, John.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That was a piece called Agua di Coco.
Mm.
And it means, do you have any idea what that means? Agua di Coco. Coconut water.
Coconut water.
I wrote that in Brazil. And I had been to the beach. Brazil, they have beautiful beaches, beautiful country. And all my friends were saying, the best thing that you could have, as soon as you get out of that water, it's a fresh coconut that was just recently picked. And they have the machetes and they slice it for you right on the beach, and they hand it to you with a straw. So good. I love that, and there's some. I think it's the electrolytes in the coconut water. It rejuvenates you.
Yeah.
And so I just loved that. And I kept saying agua di coco. Agua. So I started playing this piece of music. It was in my head after that, and developed into this whole piece. So I called it Agua di Coco, coconut water.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Now, you're going to play some things for us too, right? You've got a couple of cool instruments. You want to show us the instruments first that you have, that you're surrounded by?
I wish okay. Well, do you want me to move the camera so you can see some of them, or?
Sure. Why not? Yeah. Whatever it takes. Absolutely.
A little tour.
And I will welcome everybody who's joining us. I am your host, Jim Masters. We're here every night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. This is my dear friend, John La Barbera. We've got some amazing friends that I'm sharing with you here on my talk show series. This is our 7th week. We're here every night. Love and light and levity. We do guests. We do all kinds of food, music on location, entertainment, lifestyle talk show. Tell your friends. Share the links. You can find us on YouTube at Jim Masters TV and Facebook at Jim Masters TV. And John is here. He's a wonderful musician, arranger, composer, as we've been sharing. And he's going to show us some of the cool instruments that he has there in his home studio. What are we looking at there, John? And I will.
I think I'm just going to keep the. Okay. I don't want to move the computer too much because I don't want to mess up the. But what I'll do is I'll pick them up. Let me see if I can make this a little lower. This is an odd-looking instrument. I don't know if you could. Let me see. Okay. This is known as viola da coscio. It's a Brazilian instrument. It's from the interior of Brazil. And it goes back to the Middle Ages. An instrument that, as you could see, is very primitive. It's made out of a type of wood that grows in the Amazon. It's called balsa wood. The glue that holds the instrument together is from the piranha fish. It's called viola da coscio. And coscio is what the cows eat out of, a trough. And it's totally unknown. I mean, it had been unknown outside of the Mato Grosso region in the interior of Brazil. For my Brazilian friends, they might recognize it. And if you take a look at it, the frets, these are tied on, very similar to the way the early Renaissance instruments were made. In the Renaissance, the instruments were brought over by the Arabs. The oud, which I'll also show you, had no frets at all. Let's see if I can get this. Okay. Okay, so here's the sound of this.
That's really nice. I would love that. That's really, really nice. That's a cool instrument,
It is a cool instrument,
isn't it?
It looks like someone told me once it looked like a bug.
Or like a grasshopper or something.
Kind of strange bug because look at look at it. It's so unusual.
Yeah.
Very hard
Really?
to come by. Viola di Coscia,
What kind of wood?
balsa.
Oh, that's right. You said that, right? Yeah, balsa, which is light.
It's very light.
It's very feathery light, isn't it? Yeah, yeah.
And it's actually the bottom part was carved out. This is what the cows eat out of.
Looks very smooth.
It's made on these farms, and they have kind of like cowboys that that like in the interior. And this is the kind of guitars they make it themselves. And
They're asking, is it solid wood or is it hollow or?
It is hollow.
Mm.
It has a top made of. So this is all carved out. The bottom part is carved out, chiseled out, the interior. And then this is a separate piece of wood, a very thin piece of the balsa wood on top. The bridge. So all this here is glued on with the piranha glue from the piranha fish. If you make a mistake, you bite your finger.
Right.
You can't play the guitar. Actually, some very important anecdote in this story is do you notice anything peculiar about the face of this? Where does the sound come out of?
That's right.
There's no sound hole.
There's no
sound hole. Do you know why?
That's amazing. Why?
So that snakes can't get into it. Snakes or spiders.
Makes total sense. Right.
Snakes or spiders. In the tropics, it's very common. You leave your guitar laying around, and they easily like to nestle inside. And while you're playing, you get bit by the snake.
Right.
Which actually, I know this sounds crazy, but there is a tradition. If you know about Robert Johnson, the great blues singer, he wrote a song called "Down by the Crossroads," and a lot of times he talks about the snake.
Right.
Snake and the guitar player. Now that tradition is also found in Brazil. And there's another guitar, and they said if the way that you could prove that you're a good guitar player is that if the snake bites you and you don't die, that means you were good.
Then you've survived.
You survived. That's your proof that you're good.
Then that's it.
That's it. So that's why this one has no sound hole, so snakes can't get in to bite your fingers.
Yeah, Christine goes, yikes. Absolutely. Spiders and snakes. Very creative. That is really, really cool. While you set up another one to show us, I want to see if we can attempt to show that other video. While you're doing that, let's see if we can give that a shot and play that here on our show. We'll bring that up. And let's see if we can play that for everybody right here. It's a really beautiful piece. And here we go. Really nice. Very nice. It's amazing stuff when you hear it, right? that took us, on a nice travel log there of the different instruments and the different sounds that they make too. It's really cool.
Well, I think the show that I had you come to present was World on a String.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Community College. So that show, I tried to bring to present the history of some of the stringed instruments, and I wanted to go as far back as I could possibly go.
Mm-hmm.
So I started it off. It was kind of like a chronological show. It started off with ancient Greek, and I went all the way to the Beatles.
You did. You did. That was a pleasure emceeing that for you. The audience absolutely loved that. And then we went out to dinner afterwards. My mother was there. You met my mom.
Yeah, she's wonderful. I always think of her.
Yeah, she always asks about you guys actually all the time. So you have some more you want to show us there? Some more toys?
I'll show you this one.
Yeah.
This is the granddaddy of them all. Let's see. How's that? It's very big. This is known as the oud. got a beautiful inlay over here, and it's got the bent neck. See if I could show it to you. I'll just show it to you. I won't play it because it takes a long time to tune it, and so this I try to go back as far back as I could go with the antiquity of the development of strings, and it all stems out of this one instrument known as the oud. This is a Syrian Arabic oud, and it was brought to Europe in the 8th century. And from that, all the other instruments that I play derive from this this one instrument. As you can see, the rounded back. But the thing that you could see about this is it has no frets, like a violin.
Right.
Fretless. And that's how they, so because of the Arabic music system, you know, you get the in-between notes. The Western system, as this developed in Europe, it was used a lot in the Middle Ages. If you listen to a lot of the music of the Middle Ages, it was this instrument and another instrument that I'll show you, Turkish instrument. And this one, also, it's got the rounded back. Notice no sound hole.
Mm-hmm.
This is from Turkey. Although it does have a sound hole back, right there.
That's cool.
Very long neck. This is known as the saz, the baglama saz. Also, now this instrument has frets on it. You can see. It's a fretted instrument, and I fell in love with a lot of Turkish music. Years ago in the city, there were clubs down in the village. It was a wonderful Turkish club on McDougal Street.
Mm-hmm.
I used to love going there. I had Turkish friends, and it was called Hachi Baba. New York City in the 70s and the 80s was a center of belly dancing.
Right.
And you had these wonderful nightclubs. And when you would walk into, like, I remember going to these nightclubs like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. That's when they would first get going. And they would be drinking the Rocky. You ever hear of Rocky?
Mm-hmm. And we're not talking about Sylvester Stallone either.
Oh boy, the Rocky. You start with that, you know, that goes on all night long. And they would fly in musicians from Istanbul. They would fly in and they would play like for the weekend, and they'd fly out. Next week would be somebody else. And that's when I first started to learn about these instruments. And I started to listen to a lot of the Persian classical music, all from like hanging out in the village. It's amazing.
It's amazing, right? Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, you could walk around the city, and every 5 minutes you're in a different culture.
Mm-hmm.
So,
That's amazing.
Playing world music was, as a musician, and especially for me growing up, in that environment, New York was like, just like an phenomenal place. At one point, I was playing in 10 different bands.
Yeah.
I was playing in a South African band, a French band, gypsy band, Italian band, Jewish klezmer music. It's just so rich, and that's how I developed, a lot of different styles. And there was a place on 48th Street in the city. It was called We Buy Guitars, and I used to walk past that shop, and every time I look in, I'd see an instrument I'd never seen before. I says, "Oh man, I wish I could get that."
Yeah.
And I would buy an instrument. Now, there's another instrument I didn't take out with me. It's called a Puerto Rican cuatro. And the cuatro, I had my parents bring it back from Puerto Rico, and they brought me this instrument. And then I got called for a session in New York City for a Hollywood movie called Gloria, with Sharon Stone It was it was a remake of the John Cassavetes movie. And so in the sound score, it was with the New York Philharmonic, and I got called in to do the Puerto Rican Cuatro on the film. I had the Cuatro that my father brought me back from Puerto Rico, and when I brought it into the session, the intonation wasn't so good on it. And so Howard Shore is a very big Hollywood film composer. He said, it's a little out of tune. Can you tune it? And I said, yeah. And I just couldn't get it because the intonation was off. So he said, do you have another one? And I said, yeah, I have another instrument. I didn't know what to say. I didn't want to say no. So I just said, yeah, I do. I figured I could quickly run out and maybe find another one. What was I thinking? And sure enough, so that we ended the session. And I was saying, how am I going to find another instrument by tomorrow morning? So I went to this place on 43rd Street, and I forget the name of the shop. And I went in there, and they had a brand new Puerto Rican Cuatro. And I said, oh my, maybe I could rent it. Because I didn't know, I only needed it for that one session for the next day. So I walked in, and I told the guy, can I rent the instrument? He said, no, I don't rent. And I said, how much is it? He said, it's like it was $1,000. And he said, oh my God, maybe I get $1,000 now. So I wound up, I just, I bought it, put it on my credit card, and I brought it to the session, and it worked. It was like, I had to, though, at the last minute. What was I going to do? I couldn't turn down that job.
Right.
And I was, with the New York Philharmonic, I have to have, a good instrument. And I figured, I'm going to make money from this gig. And sure enough, it worked. I recorded it. It's in the film. If you ever see the film, it's called Gloria. It's a big Hollywood film.
Right.
Sharon Stone. It all takes place in New York City. It's a really moving film.
Incredible.
And that's why I call my Cuatro Gloria. That's the name of it.
Yeah, it makes total sense.
That instrument, there's another instrument I'd like to show you.
Yeah. And you want to play something for us too, right?
Yeah, I'll play something on that.
Awesome. Only the best for my viewers here on the Jim Masters Show Live.
Okay.
That is cool. We'll zoom in close on that. Take a look.
My brother and I used to go to the popcorn machine. We didn't know what it was. Okay. The instrument is called the dobro.
What a funky sound that has. That's really cool.
Yeah, this instrument has a little bit of a story because it's from 1929.
Yeah.
It was given to my uncle My
You might
Uncle
want to
Joe.
lean down a little bit because we don't see all your head.
Oh.
All we see is the mouth.
The big mouth. Yeah, that's the big
Technology. Don't you love it?
Yeah.
There you
Well,
are. There you are.
See, now we used to call this the popcorn.
You should have been in
machine.
pictures. That's beautiful. Yeah.
So the popcorn machine, because it reminds us of the Jiffy Pop.
Yes.
Popcorn. But it was invented by two brothers. I think they were from Eastern Europe.
Mm-hmm.
The Dopera brothers.
Mm-hmm.
They went out. They were immigrants, and they went out to California, and they came up with this. At that time, the electric guitar was not really fully developed.
Right.
And in jazz, it was the banjo and the guitar. The banjo was loud; it could cut through with the brass instruments, but the acoustic guitar was not very well played. So they tried to find a way to increase the volume of the guitar.
Mm-hmm.
So they invented this resonate. It's called the Resonator Guitar, and it has this resonator chamber. If you can see it, okay. How's that?
That is very cool.
And so they invented this, the Dopera brothers. Now, if on the headstock of this instrument, it has Pat Pending.
Mm.
Pat Pending. It also has a sign here called Pat Pending. It's a very valuable instrument because it was before they got the patent, and it became known as the Dobro. The Dopera brothers became known as Dobro.
That's
Dobro.
incredible.
Yeah, and I think they were from Eastern Europe. Dobra den. Dobra means good.
Mm-hmm.
In Ukrainian and Russian. And so I learned that when I lived in Slovakia.
Mm. That's cool stuff.
Oh yeah, so this goes back to my uncle. And during the Depression, somebody owed my Uncle Joe, because he played the guitar. Somebody owed him some money.
Mm.
So that's how we got this guitar.
I was going to say, owing Uncle Joe money, that could be a problem.
That could be a problem, I know, because you don't want to mess with Uncle Joe.
So you got the guitar. And tell us about the wood. What kind of wood is that? It's a darker wood.
Yeah, it is a darker wood. It's got
is it like a cherry or a
must be it must be like a cherry wood.
Yeah.
It's got like a white strip around here.
Beautiful.
And one time when I was a kid, I got this when I was about 14 or 15.
Mm-hmm.
I had just started learning how to play the guitar. My uncle stopped playing because him and his brother, the two brothers I was telling you about earlier, they had a band called the Becca Morta della Notte.
Mm-hmm.
They used to do serenades. You know what that meant?
Oh yeah, yeah.
The Undertakers of the Night.
Right.
And they used to play down in the East Village. So since they didn't play anymore, and they saw me with the interest in music, I was able to convince Uncle Joe to do a trade. I traded him my $15 Stella for this guitar. I think he realized that, he's not going to play anymore, and he knew that I loved music.
And you love the music.
So he gave me this.
What a gift, huh?
Yeah, and I've used it on film scores.
Yeah.
It's great because
it's an interesting, funky sound, a little bit of a twangy sound. Yeah,
because it's played with. Can you see this?
Oh yeah, is that what it is?
It was when the development of these instruments developed with a slide bottleneck. It was originally a wine bottle. So if you had a wine bottle and you had a guitar, you would take the neck of the bottle, break it off, and wrap it on your finger, and it slides across the strings like this. So in a way, I'm not holding down the strings. It's meant for sliding.
Mm-hmm.
And
real country sound to it.
Oh yeah, well that's the thing. That's why I like in film scores. And I did a pilot for the Lone Ranger. They were going to do a revival of the Lone Ranger series out in California, and I was going to do the music for it. Unfortunately, it didn't the pilot didn't run, but I did write some music for it, and to give the feeling of the Southwest, you know, the dryness, it just conjures up.
Automatically, I see the tumbleweed blowing in the wind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, that's one of the reasons why I got a lot of these instruments, because I started doing more jingles, and I started doing more film scores, and you know, you have to conjure up these sounds that create the images for the picture, because just that alone, you know, it brings you. It's atmosphere. It's all atmosphere. Atmosphere gives you it transports you. You know, and it's great. And I actually I've also worked with a wonderful musician, very well known. He's an American Bansuri flute player. His name is Steve Gorn, and he's a master of the Indian flute. And so we did a recording. We did a couple of lullabies together, and I played it. I tried to get the sense of the Indian sound of the sitar. Are you familiar with the sitar?
Oh, yeah, that's a beautiful sound too.
I have one back there also.
And you have a bouzouki too?
I had the bouzouki.
Yeah. That's big in Greece. Yeah.
Yep. And so, you know, so I try to create that. Also has like a Hawaiian sound to it too.
It does. Very much, right.
That sliding. So you don't finger the chords with the left hand. It's all done with the one finger.
With the one.
Yeah. So that's.
Anything else you want to show us while you're there in your your bag of tricks?
What the heck?
What the heck? Hope everybody's enjoying this, a little extended version of the Jim Masters Show live, but it's always worth it because you learn something, you get entertained. We have a lot of fun together.
You probably saw this.
Oh, that's cool. What's that?
Yeah, you saw this in that little video that you played.
Oh, yeah.
This is known as the chitarra battente. This is a guitar. This is
nice.
How the guitar looked around 1550s. It's the ancestor. This particular one, is the ancestor of the modern day steel string guitar. So I'll play a little bit of it. It's kind of like a Baroque guitar, and in the Baroque period, you had the gut strings, and you had the battente, which was made out of middle, and had a. You saw me playing that at the beginning. It has that very jingly sound, and that was it was a development in music that appeared in the Renaissance of strumming. The idea of to strum. It's called battente because it keeps the. It's very percussive, and you also get a percussive sound when you strum it. And you can keep the rhythm. So chitarra battente, and this one was made for me in 1978 by a very famous guitar maker in southern Italy, in Calabria. His name was Vincenzo de Bonis, and his family had been making these same instruments with the same tools since 1700s.
Wow!
In the same house. I wrote a whole story about it. It's called The Journey to Bisignano. And I tell a story about, it took me 2 years to get this instrument because there was no communication with the guitar maker. He had no phone. The only way you contact him is if you know somebody going to that town. You drop off like a carrier pigeon.
It's amazing.
You drop off a note and say, I want to order this guitar. And then you just wait till somebody passes through that town and brings you back a piece of paper that says it's ready.
Very old school for sure, huh? These are amazing stories, huh?
Yeah. So, you know, the day came where I got news that your guitar is ready. And where do I go? You go
Right.
to the town called Bisignano, Calabria. And who do I look for? You look for Vincenzo Di Bonis. That's all I had.
That's all you had.
I had no idea how to get there, where to go, what to do. So I came from a train ride across the coast of southern Italy, from the Adriatic coast, and I had to go to the Ionian coast, the Ionian Sea. And then from there, I took a train ride. And back then, the trains in Italy, they used to call those trains that went into remote villages the far west.
Mm.
Well, so a lot of those trains were like the trains in the 1800s.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I remember I was on the train. I had a bottle of wine with me that my friend's mother gave me. And she said, "You're going to need this." And I said, "Yeah, I know I will." So I was cherishing it. And I was on this train, and these hunters come on with they're kind of like hunters. So they have rifles, and they're dressed in corduroy suits. They're like these well-dressed, workers, and they're hunters, and they're walking around. They get on the train, and they go into the next stop because they got to go look for their pheasant or whatever. So then the next town I get off the train, and I still don't know where I'm going. So I wound up hitchhiking, and I had a hitchhike, but I didn't know what side of the road to hitchhike off of. Do I go on the left side or do I go to the right side? So the other problem was when I got there, it was siesta time, so nobody's around.
That's amazing.
So
if Yogi Berra had been on the scene, he would have said, "When you see a fork in the road, take it."
that's well, I saw a chicken. The only thing I saw on the road was a chicken.
Was a chicken.
And the chicken was walking around the town by himself, and I was like, I was talking to the chicken. I was trying to find out if he could help me.
And I have a question. Did he cross the road?
No, he stayed on the safe side. So I followed him, and that was the side of the road I needed to be on.
Somebody asked a question, Christine Fairwood in Connecticut, and she's not sure of the spelling, but she's asking if you also have this particular instrument. Does that look familiar there?
Yes. Yes, I do have a balalaika. Right here.
Balalaika, yeah. There it is. See, Christine? He's got it. And I will make it a big screen so we can...
Triangle. It's a beautiful instrument. It's from Russia, with love, and it's got a 3-stringed instrument. I had this hanging around. I don't know if it's in tune. Not really, but if I had more time, I would tune it for you. So the balalaika is also part of the string ensemble of instruments that I have, and all of these were used for some kind of film or soundtrack or
yeah.
And what I like to do when I record is I'll lay down a layer of I'd like to experiment with like bringing in instruments that come from different parts of the world and bringing them together. It's kind of like bringing people together.
You made Christine very happy. She goes,
Good. There's another instrument. Now take a look at this instrument, right?
I'll zoom in on that close. Take a look at.
Now that wood is walnut. That's walnut wood. Notice that the guitar had a rounded back. Okay, now let's cross continents, and we have this instrument here.
Really nice. What a beautiful sound. Yeah.
This is the charango. It's the sound of the Andes Mountains.
Mm-hmm. What is your favorite of all of these instruments that you have? Do you have a personal favorite? Is the one, whether it's the way it plays, the way it looks, or just the way it feels in your hands and the sound? Is there one that is always your, if you lined them all up along the wall and you looked at them, what would be the first one you'd probably go to more often than not for you?
Well, my main instrument that I play all the time is the guitar, and it's this one particular guitar that I have, which has been with me since 1971, and it's a classical guitar made in Spain by one of the most important guitar makers of Madrid. And there were several very good guitar makers in Madrid. Spain was known for the guitar because you had these craftsmen for, you know, it's a 500-year-old tradition in Spain, you know, where the guitar comes from. And Madrid in the 70s had some of the top instrument makers. There was Manuel Ramirez, the Ramirez family, and then Manuel Contreras. And I'll show it to you. And this instrument has been with me, since 1971. I actually played it on my senior recital.
Really nice.
Yeah, so it's the woods. You know, it's like, you know, you have your favorite pair of shoes, right? When you put them on, right? It feels good.
Nice and soft, yeah. Comfy.
Yeah, and you know, my hands kind of like settled into this instrument.
Yeah.
I mean, I took this instrument all over Europe when I was living there. It was the only instrument I had for, you know, while I was living there. I took it on top of the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Did you really?
I played on top of the...
Where have you not played? In the igloo in the Arctic Circle? Or
no, one of the things I wanted to do was that I wanted to be able to play my guitar in very important places. So
yeah.
When I lived in Europe, I took it to like medieval castles.
Yeah.
You know, these historic places where I felt like I could connect the vibrations of the place that I was in with the vibrations coming out of the guitar.
Right.
And so I would take my guitar and sit in a medieval castle, just sitting there, and I would play, and I just like feel the connection of the wood and the locale. And so I took it everywhere I went. You know, the guitar was attached to me. I didn't go anywhere without the guitar.
Right. And
many times the guitar saved my life.
Really?
Yeah, definitely. I have a lot of stories about that.
Get you out of some tough situations, or
oh yeah. There was always a, you know, and it was almost like a passport.
Yeah.
You know, when you traveled around with a guitar. In fact, you used to think of it every time you were in an airport and you're carrying a guitar. How many times people would come up to you and just start talking to you because you have a guitar in your hand?
That's right. Right. Right.
Someone just Roberta just asked me something about.
Yeah. Did you see that? How many different tunings do you have to adjust when jumping from one instrument to another?
It's like, you know, you have to readjust. It's like driving a Volkswagen, and then the next minute you're driving a Mack truck.
Right.
You know, because you have, you know, something like this tiny little instrument, you know, and then it's in totally different tuning. So you have to learn the tuning of the instrument. So everyone is different. Mostly they're tuned in fourths, the intervals of a fourth. like except for the mandolin is tuned in fifths. So then your whole thinking has to change. The mandolin is tuned like the violin, so you have to rethink everything. And I just trained myself to read in those, you know. And the other thing was that I wanted to not only play them, but to read the music for them, so that I could. I used to get work because I'm in local 802, the musicians union, and you're entitled to use up to 7 instruments. So I list all these different instruments, you know, for people that are looking for exotic instruments for their soundtrack, or for the jingle or whatever, you know. So that's one of the reasons why I started to collect a lot of these different instruments. I mean, you know, there's that, and then this is also a guitar. It looks like a regular guitar, but it sounds a fourth higher. It's called a requinto. So it looks like a toy guitar.
Really nice. That's a beautiful sound.
I know, I love it. I just discovered it. You know, like I have all these instruments. I have them in cases, and I lose track. I have to take inventory.
Somebody asked that. They asked how many different instruments do you actually have? If you totaled it up, I mean,
I don't know. You know, before I started to count them, there were about 25.
really?
Yeah, maybe more. I still have some I didn't take out of the cases yet.
Are there any that you don't have that you wish you had?
Yeah, there's a lot of instruments. There's a Portuguese guitar. I wish I don't have it, but no.
Does your son play instruments as well?
Sebastian, yes. He's surrounded by all these instruments. And,
yeah. What's his go-to? What does he like?
He likes the mandolin. He plays the mandolin, but he also plays the guitar a lot.
Mm.
I'll just put an instrument in his hand, and he starts playing it.
What do you have there? What's that one?
Look at this one. This is called the Guitarra Portuguesa. It's from Portugal. It's a totally
interesting shape to it. Yeah,
it's got a teardrop shape, rounded back,
mm-hmm.
And it goes also. It's if you go to Lisbon, if you go to anywhere in Portugal, this is the instrument, the most famous instrument in Portugal.
Mm.
It's called the viola.
It's beautiful.
The Guitarra Portuguesa, and it's used for the fado music. I was playing fado for a while. I love that music. It's a very soulful type of music.
Yeah.
That you know, it's very melancholic, and the strings, the neck on the Guitarra Portuguesa, the neck is like it's curved. It's not a flat neck.
Right.
So you can bend the notes, you know, nicely. It would take me like a couple more days to tune everything up. I just, you know, I have to keep after them, and I don't play the, you know, it's not like I play these instruments every day.
Well, that's the thing. I think most people probably think you just pick it up and just run with it, but you need to tune.
You know, and I'll tell you something. Exactly, because you know, if I'm gonna do a gig or if I'm gonna compose something where I need these instruments, I have to go back into, you know, my headset, right, you know, and play it. And the other thing I feel like these instruments, they're very temperamental. Yeah. I used to feel that, you know, if I don't play this instrument after a while and I want to pick it up and just play it, it resists. It's like, well, where have you been?
Well, I'm sure you give them, even just by the way you're hugging them, you give them human qualities, almost like they're your children, right?
Yeah. There's, because they're, you know, you're bringing them to life. They want to be played. Right. You know, and the sound comes out of the molecules in the wood.
Yeah. Right.
You know, the more you play it, the happier the wood is going to be, and the instrument will change and develop, and you know, get more and more. Now, there's one other instrument which is also a guitar that I have that is from Ireland. We were talking about Ireland. It's an Irish guitar. and it's made by George Loudon, great Irish guitar maker. I'll play a little piece on this. It's an open string tuning. It's a DADGAD tuning, D-A-D-G-A-D.
Beautiful. That's got a beautiful sound to it,
Hasn't
huh?
it? Oh,
It's got a real warmth and depth, and
it's such a beautiful, like for steel string guitar. This is my favorite steel string guitar.
Yeah.
It's made in Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
By George Loudon.
Yes. Yeah. You hear that in a lot of Irish music and some of
it's
Celtic sounds, and
I love the Irish music. I've been to Scotland, and I used to live in my neighborhood across the street from a really well-known Irish singer, Susan McEwen.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
And she's a beautiful singer. I worked with her for a while, and I love the Irish sound.
You've had such wonderful. I mean, you've talked about Russian and Italian and Greek and Irish and Scottish. I mean, you've had French. You've had so many different Spanish as well. So many different exposure to so many different cultures and styles of music and instruments that reflect the culture and the land and the people, and it makes even more deeper and richer what it is that you create for all of us to enjoy, John, through your music, from the performance to the arranging and the composition, because you can add in different elements because of all these phenomenal exposures to life and living that you've had and continue to have.
Yeah, well, it's an ongoing experience.
It is, and you've soaked it up. That's the thing. You haven't been going through it just blindly. You've been picking up, which I tend to do in my life and my work too. I pick up little nuggets and then I hold on to those, and then I, share them at different times based on whatever the experience is, when I know it's going to sort of enhance the situation for people and for what I'm doing. I want to share a couple more things here. This is cool. Tell us about this.
That's from one of my first tours in Brazil. That was called String Ecstasies. That was the title. And it was promoted by a very wonderful organization in Brazil called SESC. SESC is, I wish, they in Brazil, they have this type of organization that brings culture and physical activity, physical exercise and activities to people's businesses. So if you work for a company, you have it's like a recreation center, and it's to promote culture.
Right.
And so they organize this wonderful tours in Brazil, and they invited me to go down there, and I put together these shows, and they would hook me up with Brazilian musicians. that I'd never met before. And I would go there, and in like 2 days, I rehearsed with them, and I had all the music, and then we would do tours.
Mm.
And that show was called String Ecstasies. And, it was beautiful because every time I would go there, I would do like, they would drive me around and treat me, they'd have like a chauffeur picking me up. And I couldn't move anything. There was like, they always have somebody taking care of me, and I had wonderful experience. And then they would have television interviews and radio shows all lined up throughout the state of Sao Paulo.
Mm.
It was
Really nice. It's amazing, huh? When you think about it and you look back at it all, and here's something else as well.
Yeah, well, I always, there's Souls of Naples.
Yeah, huh? We did our research here at the show.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's the poster. It was at the Duke on 42nd Street. And it was directed by Roman Pasca. Souls of Naples was based off of this Neapolitan playwright, very famous Eduardo De Filippo, the most famous Neapolitan playwright. And in Italian, it was called Questi Fantasmi, which talks about these spirits or these ghosts.
Yeah.
And so the English translation somehow became known as Souls of Naples. And it was wonderful. John Turturro did a wonderful job. He was the leading actor. Yeah. Aida Turturro also was in it. She was also in The Sopranos, Aida. And Max Casella, another wonderful actor. And, it was wonderful because I worked with them for a couple of months. And, it was fun. I mean, it was kind of like a family. We
Right.
talk about food and, there's the music.
All the good stuff.
Yeah, it was great. It was a great show. I had a wonderful experience doing that.
And here's another one.
Oh, the Stabat Mater. Okay, that was with my group, Giullari di Piazza. Alessandra Belloni and I, we started the company in 1979, 1980. She's an actress and a wonderful singer and performer, and she plays the frame drum. And we were artists in residence at the Cathedral of St. John the Divine in New York City. What a wonderful, you're familiar with the cathedral, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The Stabat Mater was a 2-hour opera, which I was commissioned to write the music for. And it was for choir and 7 instruments and principal singers. So it was a full-length opera that I scored. It was my first opera that I composed. And it was done in the procession throughout the Cathedral of St. John the Divine. Mm-hmm. It was wonderful. And we were there for many years. We were at the cathedral for 20-something years.
Yeah.
And that was a beautiful experience.
Absolutely. When you look at all of this, John, and you look at the body of work and all the wonderful opportunities that you've had, that you've seized, and all the people you've had an opportunity to work with, collaborate with, create with, all the places that you've traveled, all the music that is still there impacting people's lives. What is it about all of this that continues to bring you such joy and deep blessing into your life as a result of all of this?
What is it that gives me the great joy? Just being able to express myself and having the gift of, being making people happy. The joy that people, I could reach, people's feelings and emotions, and at the same time, I'm, able to do this. I mean, and it's a giving, it's a giving process. It's a beautiful thing, and to just keep it going, because being able to, every day is different.
Are you often inspired every day?
Well, right now, I haven't been doing much, going out or anything, we can't. But there's some projects that I'm working on that keeps me busy.
Yeah, there were some cool things that you were telling me that you're working on. What are some of the cool things you were mentioning that are some projects that are going to be upcoming, which are exciting?
Well, I found out about this channel It's spelled C-A-R-E, care, and it's a channel that's in hospitals and medical offices. I had this crazy experience a few weeks ago where I kind of like, I almost felt like I was blanking out. And something happened to me where I just kind of fainted and I didn't know why. And my son, you know, like I went to the emergency room. The reason was because I was dehydrated. So drink up, folks.
Yeah, you really have to. A lot of H2O. You really.
Yeah, and I was dehydrated, and I wound up, and I was in there for a couple of hours, you know. And while I was there, I didn't want to, the television was on, and it was like very loud, and so I just said, let me change the channel, and I found this channel that had beautiful, calming music to it, and also has beautiful visual things like landscapes of, like, you know, the Southwest, or sometimes it's like mountain peaks,
the ocean,
the ocean, and you know, the effect of the calmingness of the music. So then I watched that, and then it was in my mind. I said, how do I get in touch with this station? And I found out I got in touch with them, and I'm licensing some music to them. It's like, for some reason, I had to like blank out.
Yeah, in order to have. Yeah.
And then that opened up a whole new world. So right now I'm like, you know, in contract with them. That's like kind of a strange thing that, like, I would never expect it. That's most of my, you know, it's a lot of things that I don't expect.
Right. You've had, but there's a thread to all of this conversation. As a lot of these things have been opportunities. Some of them you've created through your blood, sweat, and tears, and your education and your effort, and wanting to seek it. But oftentimes you would just happen to be in the room at the right time.
Exactly.
Something came towards you, and the two worlds collided and turned into something incredible and unpredictable.
That's it, you know, and I just
that's life.
That's the joy too, because it's like, you know, like, it's led me to places I never thought I would go to.
Yeah. People
I never thought I would meet. I met you. Look, how did I, you know, we
developed a great friendship, right?
Yeah. See, it was all like things happen, you know, they just evolve, and you're on the right path. You feel like something is right because, you know, things are, you know, going your way, and not always, but, you know, one of the other things I'm doing is I'm working with Peter LeDun. We're going to be starting up this silent film series at Bergen Community College. And I'm also got new music that I'm working on. I got a couple of new pieces I'm trying to record, and I'm working with.
You've been working through this situation where we've been around in the pandemic and everything. And I'm sure music, as it is for many people, for me too, for everybody, you know, I don't smoke, but I often say music is my cigarette.
Yeah.
It really
it is. I mean, you know,
and I'm sure even you turn to music during times of strife and on waters, like, you know, through the whole life, and especially now in the last couple of months with everything we've been dealing with, which has been on, you know, I don't want to use the unprecedented word because a lot of people use that, but uncharted and fearful and sort of foreign, what we've been dealing with.
Yeah, I know.
Even you turn to music yourself for calm and ease and solace and balance, right? I know I do.
You know, being a musician my whole life, and I think, you know, when I moved to Europe, I didn't know anyone there, and I just decided I was going to live there. I had no money. I didn't know how I was going to survive, and I wound up staying there almost 10 years. I was there all those years. You know, I went from like when I first went to Siena, I wound up living in a palace.
Well, if you're going to go for the first time, you might as well go for the palace.
I wound up in a palace.
You know, the Super 8 doesn't work when you're there.
And it was like, okay, you know, I got like the canopied bed with Venetian chandeliers, with frescoes on the wall. And I was like, okay, well, maybe this is the way it is, you know?
This
I mean,
is the way it is. Yeah, not bad, right?
yeah, then, you know, and then after a couple of months, the next time I was like playing in the street looking to make some money to, you know. And then the next thing I knew, I was in a movie. I wound up working in Cinecittà in Rome with Fellini and seeing people, and
Cool stuff.
you know, it's just like it's an adventure.
It is. It's
you know, and you know, like now I'm teaching. I'm doing Zoom lessons.
Mm-hmm.
I'm writing arrangements for a wonderful group called Bella Musica. And they're friends of mine, and they have been commissioning me to write arrangements for them. And that keeps me busy. It keeps me, you know, I love, you know, perfecting my craft.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I'm happy doing musical projects, you know, whatever comes your way. And, you know, if someone has a project they want to, you know, they want to collaborate. I love to collaborate with other artists, you know, and I try to continue. You know,
nice comments coming in. Many informative and interesting topics discussed tonight. John is a great musician and has lots of beautiful guitars, and such a variety of guitars, and beautifully played by John. That's my sister.
Thank you.
My sister in Florida. You've met Mom, but not
sis.
Sis.
Hi, Laurie.
That's it.
Nice to meet you.
Really wonderful comments coming in here. John, this has been extraordinary. Really, you know, I set out in the beginning, seven weeks ago, that these shows would only be about an hour, but especially when I have the guests on, like I said, we just let it roll, because it's comfortable. It's a conversation. People learned a lot, I'm sure, tonight as well, but they were entertained, and hopefully this show has provided a sense of solace and healing and love and levity as well. And
love and levity. I love that. Yeah.
And I slipped up last night, because usually I say the show is about light, levity, and love, and I slipped up and said lovity. So I think we've got a new word.
I know. I think you gotta get those T-shirts.
Got to get those T-shirts and mugs.
Yeah.
But you're incredible, and I definitely wanted you to be on the show.
Thank you.
In these infancy weeks, because of our, you know, the great friendship we've had. We've always rooted for each other, supported each other. We've had an opportunity to share the stage together and see each other do our thing, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll be doing that again. And you're just a cool guy to know and a joy to know. And I'm so happy to call you a friend. And I really appreciate the amount of time you spent with us here this evening, and sharing of your life, your music, opening up your home to us.
Thank you.
It was really terrific. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, my friend.
I loved it. I love, you know, hanging out with you. We were talking for a long time. We got to get together. We have to get together. We have to hang out. You know, we have, we have a lot of things to talk about. And, you know, I got my hat up now. I'll put my hat on.
Now we got the hats. There you go. Oh, I like that one. Yeah.
I got this one when I was in Pordenone. I was in the marketplace. And, you know, in Italy, it's great because they have the outdoor markets.
Right.
You know, and usually it's only on Wednesdays. But somehow in Pordenone, from Wednesday on till they must have liked it so much they had like 3 days of market.
Yeah.
And it's great because they have food, and then they have like clothes, and they have all different things, you know, like tools for around the house, you know, unexpected things too. And so I found this hat. Yeah. And
you know, it's really cool with the black shirt and with the hat. And the way the lighting is, there's sort of a shadowing under your neck, which almost looks like a scarf wrapped around.
Oh, yeah.
You look very Parisian right now, too.
It's funny because a lot of people, when I wear this hat, they said, you look very French with that.
Yes,
hat.
French.
And I was like, trying to figure out why, you know, but it's an Italian hat. You know, it's a very soft hat. You would like
it. Yeah, it looks
it. I could push it back.
Right.
I can push it to the side, you know. I can do it like that, or I can put it in the back. I can do it this way.
Cool. Can you imagine how many hours the show would be if you and I whipped out our hat collections?
Jim, we should have a whole hat show. I have
a whole hat show.
I wanted to bring. I had all these hats. I mean, I have them downstairs, but I actually have a hat that Dominic gave me. I was going to wear Dominic's hat. Dominic gave me a hat. He said, his wife bought it for him. And he said that, she doesn't like him to wear it. He said she didn't like the way he looked in it. So then he came over one day and said, Johnny, you want a hat? And I said, no, Dominic, that's your hat.
Yeah.
But he wanted to give it to me, and it has a beautiful energy to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I kind of like, I used to drive around with just a hat in the back seat.
Yeah.
I think hats have a lot of energy.
Oh yeah, yeah, and I wear all the different kinds because of the fact that it gives you a certain energy and there's a certain look to it, and just it's really cool. It's really amazing. You can really it's sort of our lampshades for our head.
It is. Now, if you think of it, there was a time you wouldn't go out of the house without a hat.
Oh yeah, yeah. The time of the fedoras and everything, and women with the pillbox hats and everything. In the
pillbox hats. Yeah,
during the Kennedy era. Yeah, my mother wore a lot of those.
Oh, I have a hat.
I did.
I just remembered I had another hat. I should get it. I bought it in Venice. It's a 3-cornered hat.
Wow.
Venice has a tradition for Carnival.
Yes.
Weren't you there? You did something in Venice.
Yeah,
remember?
We were there. Yeah.
Did you ever go to
Carnival? Is terrific.
Oh, the Carnival. Did you go to any of those shows, those shops where they make the hats?
Yes. Yeah.
So I bought one of those. It's a tricorno. Tricorno means 3-cornered hat.
Yeah.
It's the 17th century. They wear that in the mask. The white mask, that's the Venetian look.
Which is very apropos for the times right now.
Yeah, the mask of the doctor of the plague.
Exactly right.
They would put the herbs. That was the mask.
That's
that was
right.
When you looked at I don't have one here. I have a different mask here. I'll show you.
You see, Gary is watching from Barcelona, Spain, and loving it.
This was made for me by my friend in Italy. Can you see it?
Oh yeah. Let me see. I'll make it a little bit bigger.
It's a Commedia dell'arte. Alecchino.
Yeah, Venice. We actually went and visited one of the legendary mask makers there, where they make the masks, and it was really awesome. Really awesome. Hope to get back there soon. Really beautiful.
There was that one mask that has a long beak.
Yes.
Now that was called the Doctor of the Plague. It comes from the time of the plague in Italy.
Yeah.
Right, in the 1300s, and the reason for that long beak was that they would put herbs inside that. They were medicinal herbs.
Yeah.
And so they would put that mask on, and that was a purifying mask. And that's probably something we could use today.
I was going to say, right?
They should make the mask with more of a beak, and you put the herbs in there as a purifier. Maybe some creative person out there will get the idea, and they'll be making those kind of masks soon. It has herbs inside that keeps you fresh.
And they'll make it with lots of levity.
Yeah.
John, it was a real pleasure having you on the show, and
I loved it.
Thanks for the wonderful conversation. Always great catching up with you, my friend. And thanks for the.
Let's have another toast.
Yes, let's have our toast. We got to have our toast. There you go. Clang.
Bling, clang, clary.
Very, very nice.
Vino.
And we will get together once we're able to do all of that. And
yes, I would. Maybe we could
over dinner.
Yeah, once we get back into things.
Right.
We're going to have some shows over at Bergen Community College at the Chacon Theater, and I'd love to have you host it.
That'd be great.
Grande beijos. España.
She's a wonderful
Barcelona. Is Barcelona, you say?
She's in Spain, Barcelona. She's She's with us almost every night.
Beautiful. Yeah. Barcelona's a beautiful city.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love Spain.
Good stuff, I tell you.
Being a guitarist,
how could you not? How could you?
It's a lot of guitar countries to visit.
Absolutely. Road trip. We'll
Yeah,
take the show, we'll take the Jim Masters Show live on the road. And look, she responded. That's right, the Jim Masters train.
Yeah.
Thanks. Chin chin. Feliz noche, she says.
Feliz noche.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
John, thanks again. It was really a blessing having you here and spending this amount of time. This will be archived, so if people want to go back and watch this interview.
Yeah, I'll tell my friends in Italy. They'll be able to check it out.
Yeah, right on YouTube at Jim Masters TV. You can share the links, all the archives to 7 weeks of our fun and exciting shows are there. And I know you've been a viewer. You've been watching as well, John, and I appreciate that, my friend.
I want to say hello to everybody, my friends in Italy, Nando Citarella, in Naples, in Rome, and in Calabria, Vittorio, and Fulvio and Anna, Gabriele, so many friends in Italy, my friends in Sicily and all over Italy, in Brazil. Thank you for this opportunity to be able to hang out with you, and I just, to meet up again and to spend time together. This is very, I can't tell you how happy I am.
Oh, it's my pleasure, my friend, my pleasure. I knew we were going to have a phenomenal night. I know you were really looking forward to it, and I was too. And it really, we closed the place.
We did, man. I don't know if anybody's still up, but
they are. There's
I don't know if
lots of people around the world still watching, which is really, really cool.
It's great. I can't believe it.
Well, John, thanks for being with us. We will have you back. The door is always open. You're always welcome, my friend. And you and I will be chatting. We always text each other, and we're staying in touch anyway. But we will be together soon, and we will toast in person. Yes. You have a phenomenal night, my friend. And thanks, Sebastian, for all of his hard work with the sound check we did earlier.
Yeah, he helps.
It's
helps so much.
Blessing.
I couldn't do it without him. I was ready to you do the phone, remember?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
yeah, that's right, exactly. And Ernestine Webb in North Carolina. John, it has been a pleasure to listen to you tonight, and Barbara as well. You're amazing. Some wonderful comments from the viewers, and we welcome everybody. If you're just joining us for the first time, I'm your host, Jim Masters. We're here 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific every night with great shows like this.
Tell your friends. Tell all my friends. Tell your friends to watch Jim. Watch his show. This is like I can watch you every night. It's just so much fun.
Well, I appreciate that, and I appreciate that. And we can listen to you play every night, John. Thanks, and Christine, who had those questions about the guitars earlier, she said interesting, and she thanks everybody as well. So you take care. You be well. Have a good night.
You too, man.
Get some rest, and we'll be chatting again soon, John.
Okay.
All right.
Goodbye, everybody. Love you all.
Auf Wiedersehen. Cheers. Ciao. That's it. Take care, my friend.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye now. Amazing, right? Isigari says thanks, and Christine says so interesting. Thank you, and it's been a pleasure. And the comments go on and on and on. We certainly hope you enjoyed this extended episode of the Jim Masters Show Live. John and I have been friends for years, so it was so easy just to have a great conversation. He played for you as well, showed you all those different cool guitars and the different styles of instruments that he has. Isn't that cool stuff? You always learn something on the show, always entertained, and hopefully, maybe it provided some healing and comfort for you during these interesting times that we're living in. We're going to wrap up the show. It's a great show. Go back in the archives if you want to watch this again. If you want to watch any of the past shows, we always say this, so you know that all the shows are archived at Jim Masters TV on YouTube. So if you're out one night and you miss a show and you didn't want to miss anything, all the shows are archived at YouTube at Jim Masters TV. And feel free to subscribe to the channel. We've had a lot of people who've been subscribing to the channel. There's no cost. Don't be fooled by that word subscribe. No cost. You just subscribe. That gives you updates and notifications about some of the cool content on the YouTube channel. That's at Jim Masters TV, and also at Facebook at Jim Masters TV as well. You can find me as well on Instagram at Jim Masters TV and Twitter at Jim Masters TV. And of course, John La Barbera at johnlabarbera.com, our great friend. An honor and a pleasure to spend this amount of time. Like he said, it's like old friends getting together with some wine and good conversation and entertainment just for you. That's just a little sample of what the Jim Masters shows live are all about. Tomorrow night, we have a very special guest. And like I said, we are booked with guests all the way until August. It's absolutely amazing. Good night, Jim and George and Jeannie Silver and Mr. Clown. The Clown Jimmy, yeah, absolutely. Martha and Hearts from Issy and Christine Knight as well. And Kathleen as well in New York City. Tomorrow night, a very special guest as well. Elise Lobianco is joining us. She is the wife of legendary television and film veteran actor Tony Lobianco, who is here with me for a very special Memorial Day presentation. She's going to be here for a phenomenal evening of love and light and inspiration and empowerment, her meditative studies, and so much more. She's got a very special message for all of us. That's tomorrow night. And then on Friday, this is the extraordinary actress, speaker, author, and so much more, Kathy Garver, who played Sissy on Family Affair. That's right, on CBS. Remember, with Brian and Keith and Sebastian Cabot and Johnny Whitaker and Anissa Jones? This is Kathy Garver. Then and now you see her there. And she played, again, Sissy. She was also in the Ten Commandments as well. I don't know if you knew that. She's had an extraordinary career. She makes her home with her family in California. And she will be my exclusive guest on this Friday. Kathy Garver, legendary television and film actress and voiceover actress as well. So excited to have Kathy with us as well. Coming up on upcoming episodes, just take you down the aisle here. On Monday night, the award-winning veteran television, stage, and film actress Lane Bradbury is going to be here on the Jim Masters Show, and we are so excited to have her here. I had an opportunity to meet her not that long ago at a dinner party at her home in the New York tri-state area, and she was a breath of fresh air, and we were amongst friends. And it was a beautiful evening, and she's very excited to be here on the show. And I really thank her for coming on and joining us. Don't miss that show on Monday. She is going to be here as well, and we're very excited. And here's another incredible guest who's going to be with us on July 31st, Friday, July 31st. She and I just confirmed at about 2:30 in the morning last night. She and I were texting each other. This is veteran and legendary television network news anchor and radio host Rita Cosby. She's going to be with us here coming up in just a couple of weeks in July on the 31st for an exclusive conversation as my guest on the Jim Masters Show live. We're really looking forward to that. Lionel Ketchian, who is the president and creator of the Happiness Club, which is a really cool organization. He's going to be on the show in coming weeks as well. Mike Casey, dear friend and phenomenal saxophonist, going to be with us here on the program as well. And that is just a short teaser. Excited to let you know that Sean Wiley is going to be joining us. He's an incredible singer, dancer, choreographer, entertainer, and you may know him from Under the Street Lamp. Under the Street Lamp is that incredible group. They've had multiple PBS specials. I've interviewed him numerous times, actually, on public television. He's going to be with us in just a couple of weeks as well, and also a phenomenal actor, television, commercial, film, stage. Danny Bolero is going to be with us here exclusively on the Jim Masters Show live. He's all excited. We were just chatting back and forth today and getting things all set up for his guest appearance here on my show. And I thoroughly am looking forward to that as well. We have a lot of great people coming up. And of course, as we always say, even when we don't have guests, we have a phenomenal time together, which is what this show really is all about. And I truly enjoy having all of you here. Thank you very much, Ernestine. A pleasure having you as well. It is my pleasure. I'm glad you're enjoying all the guests and all the fun moments we have here on the show as people watch us here on Facebook and also on YouTube. So for George and Jeannie and Silver and Jimmy the Clown. Remember, I think, even though I may be the host of the show, maybe the star of the show, I think you guys truly are the stars. Every single one of you, all around the world, for joining us here every night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, on YouTube at Jim Masters TV and on Facebook at Jim Masters TV. And I know Willie, who's in Holland, I think she went to bed because, this show is on at 1 a.m. where she is, when she takes naps in the day, just so she can join us here at night. These we showed earlier, these are from the Netherlands when I was on a TV shoot, and we toasted Willie, our faithful viewer in Holland, with some of these Dutch tulips. Remember to relax, everybody. Breathe and relax. Count your blessings, your joys, as John and I have been talking about. And a lot of the guests, a lot of these wonderful guests we have an opportunity to converse with here on the show, we talk about expressing ourselves through our using your talents to connect and share and create, and also to take a moment to enjoy life and relax, breathe, count your blessings, love one another. Try to be kind and empathetic, and breathe from the diaphragm. Boy, it feels good when you really do. And, each day isn't perfect. The sun will always rise and set. Birds will always chirp. Well, some of them cheep too. They will chirp and cheep. And the ocean tides will still come in and go out. So there's a lot of blessings around. And I know sometimes life can be tough for every single one of us. But we are here now. Life is short, so make the most of it as best as you can. We do that here at the Jim Masters Show Live, and I really appreciate all of the sharing of the links and all of the wonderful commentary. I mean, when we're not on, in between the times we're not on, the amount of, meaning I'll wrap up now, but tonight and tomorrow morning and leading up to tomorrow night's show, I get all these messages, and from Facebook messages to comments on YouTube, comments on the page, about how much you're really enjoying this show. And I appreciate that very, very much. Keep the comments coming. Love it. It helps us create more content for you, more rich experiences. You get a chance to meet some people that are really cool and wonderful in my life, like the guests that we've had an opportunity to share with you. More coming. And then fun segments on the weekends together as well. So we have a lot of fun here, and there's a purpose behind it all. Thank you very much, Marianne Kelly. What dedication you have, Jim Masters TV. Absolutely love it, and love all of you as well. So everybody here and all that are still watching, I tip my hat. John tips his wonderful Italian hat to you as well. We hope you enjoyed this extended edition of the Jim Masters Show Live. Oh boy, hard to say goodnight, right? But we have to, because it's getting late. So to you and you and you and you and you, thank you very much for joining us, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the conversation with my friend John La Barbera, musician, arranger, composer extraordinaire. And we will see you tomorrow night with Elise Lobianco. Going to be a great one. Going to be very empowering, inspiring. And on Friday night, Kathy Garver, brilliant, legendary television actress, and so much more. And then a great weekend of shows ahead too. So we are going to say sayonara for now. We hate to say goodbye, but we have to. And it was a pleasure. You guys are amazing, and love it. I tip my hat to you. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, everybody, wherever you are around the world, or good morning if you are in Australia and you're having your breakfast. And we will see you tomorrow. Same place, same bat channel, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Spread the word. Have watch parties. Join us. Not all the shows are as long as this. Usually they're a lot shorter, but we're having fun tonight. So, because the alternative sometimes is a lot of negativity on social media and everywhere else. So you might as well extend the good times when you can. Have a good night. You're all a blessing and a joy. And I appreciate all the great comments and support of the Jim Masters Show Live. This is your host, Jim Masters, thanking you for your time. This time till next time, tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Have a wonderful evening, everybody. Thanks for being with us. Good night.